What's the show about?
It's about nothing.
No story?
No, forget the story.
You gotta have a story.
Who says you gotta have a story?
And it's about nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Good stories ask questions. Well, all stories ask questions, but good stories ask good questions like, how long can or should I persevere? What is the point of it all? How do I know what is true in a world full of lies? Is it my duty to fulfill a fate that was forced on me? And some stories don't even have answers. It's the exploration of the question that matters. Hazbin Hotel, however, tries a different strategy, instead asking questions like, who cares about consistency? What even are themes? You don't need to set up plot twists, right? And my personal favorite, why bother writing a good story when the show already has millions of fans that will watch, spend money on, and blindly defend whatever is put out regardless of quality? And while Hazbin Hotel was written for adults, by adults, supposedly, my example questions are actually from children's shows. Naruto, Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, and Avatar: The Last Airbender, respectively. Now, Season 2 of Hazbin Hotel doesn't have the same problems as Season 1, but these very basic improvements have only made it appear better and instead have just paved the way for some shiny new problems.
Who is this Charlie? The diabolical Danny Doobad does not listen to our friends.
Some problems, however, remain the same. While the main villains of Season 1 were Adam and the Exterminators,
New band name, I call it.
this time the V's, consisting of Vox, Val, and Velvet, take center stage as Charlie's main opposition. Now, as much screen time as they took up in Season 1, this unfortunately did not set them up well to be the antagonists of Season 2.
Here,
Wait, what's this?
read it.
Oh, okay. Actually, up until Alistair's name is mentioned, Vox's introduction is pretty good. Despite Velvet claiming to be the backbone of the V's, it's very clearly Vox. I assume you're talking about Season 1 here. While Velvet is introduced yelling orders and swearing, and Valentino is actively throwing a tantrum over angel dust, Vox is collected and proactive, only letting his underlying annoyance out when alone. Okay, so why wasn't he like this in Season 2? On his way to deal with Val, Vox has an impromptu press meet and comes up with a new, innovative idea on the spot: an angelic security system. While everyone is terrified of the upcoming extermination, Vox uses that fear to his advantage with this new product. His first moments show him to be competent and focused. That's great villain material. Agreed. But then Alistair gets thrown into the mix and makes Vox look like a child. Also agreed. What a lame thing to do to your future big bad. Really shot his character potential in the foot. I think Vivzy finds this kind of thing funny though, setting up something actually cool and then treating it like a joke. Yeah, that makes the entire show make sense. Well, thanks, Ghost. Anyways, back to me. While Vox's Season 1 introduction was actually okay, throughout the rest of Season 1, Vox just wastes our and Alistair's time with their petty bickering. And the V's don't really do anything to build up anticipation for their role in Season 2, they're just there. It would have been better to just not show them at all than to ruin the villains before they even had their chance in the spotlight. But the V's aren't the only thing holding back this season. This time, the story is plagued with fake stakes, literal 30-second character arcs, I actually timed one of them, aesthetic over-meaning, contrived drama, just like Season 1, missed parallels, wasted potential, the characters are all stupid and the plot only progresses because the characters are all stupid, also just like Season 1, plot device characters, and Charlie is still the absolute worst. You know, most of these are also problems in Season 1. It's just more covert this time around, because some of the really basic stuff has been addressed. But probably the biggest problems would be the inconsistent standard of morality and the show asking very serious questions and then not just ignoring them, but acknowledging them and then refusing to answer them. Which is a big deal in a show about heaven, hell, and redemption. You don't have to deal with themes of redemption, change, morality, the nature of man. Those are pretty complicated. Very interesting, and there's no reason you couldn't address those things in an animated show, but they have to be handled by people who are not only skilled writers, but who also think about, and at least to a degree, have a basic understanding of those concepts so as to be able to write about them and communicate their thoughts in a cohesive, understandable way. Otherwise, you risk having a completely nonsensical story and undermining or even making a mockery of your own story, all of which happens in Hazbin Hotel. You've probably heard the advice, write what you know. Now, obviously, none of us have ever been to heaven or hell or the Hidden Leaf Village or the Land of Ooh, Gravity Falls, or the Earth Kingdom. Write what you know is referring to concepts. If you're not someone that spends time thinking about good and evil, what that means, how it relates to humanity, eternity, judgment, and divine punishments, don't write a story about those things. Making lots of money and having millions of fans does not excuse the absolutely abysmal storytelling, but because this weirdly continues to fascinate me, I've done a detailed breakdown of each episode so we can see just where the story goes wrong, all the missed potential, bad decisions, ways the stories could have been better, and all the questions this story raises. And of course, to be fair, I will also be pointing out the very few things this show gets right. And hopefully we'll learn some things that will improve our own storytelling as I ask questions like, is this almost over? And why am I watching this again? Episode 1. Okay, so we open to a sweeping view of all the subtle neon signs in Hell's red light district, which is all of hell. That's why this show is so red. Katie Killjoy, a newscaster, exposits what we need to know to get us up to speed as we start season 2. This is actually a fine place and a fine way to quickly get across any information returning or new viewers might need, especially since Vox runs the media and it plays such a big role in this season. That was really nice of me to start out on such a positive note. Don't worry, even though we're starting out in actual hell, it only goes downhill from here. So it's been non-specifically a while since the end of the last season, where Adam and his army of angels were in hell executing one of the many periodic exterminations, but were eventually taken out by Charlie and her crew with angelic weapons, the only thing that can kill angels. In the news report, it's described as a brutal slaughter and acknowledged that Charlie, who, even though she is the daughter of Lucifer and the princess of hell, doesn't have anyone's respect, which if you've seen any of this show is extremely understandable. Killjoy then tells us heaven has yet to make their next move, and then tries to fearmonger the viewers by saying that Charlie won't stop at angels, and that you, yes you viewer, might be next. And then what, your dogs? Your cats? How did these pets get into hell in the first place? I have it on good authority that all dogs go to heaven. Except pit bulls, of course, and most chihuahuas.
You're an inhuman monster!
The news segment ends with an announcement of their sponsorship from Vox Tech, so all in all, an actually pretty okay beginning. Quick and rather painless exposition, surprising considering we're in hell, and introducing the villains of this season in a thematically appropriate way. Then we cut to the Hazbin Hotel, where through some now terribly direct and very poorly written expositional dialogue, we're told that the hotel is swarming with potential guests despite Killjoy's best efforts. Though they're actually there because they can't wait to F up some angels, when the point of Charlie's hotel is actually to massage her very fragile ego. I mean, for her guests to be redeemed and go to heaven. And yes, I do mean the heaven that just spent the entire last season attacking them. This raises further questions, such as, what does that mean? Do the guests have to change, meaning there is right and wrong, and possibly that they deserve to be in hell in the first place? What does it mean to deserve hell? What are the standards? Why?
I'm not gonna answer that question.
Everyone seems to be having a pretty good time in hell, constantly fulfilling their every perverse desire. Why would they want to change? How does that even work? And even though the show answers none of these questions and more, because Charlie is the main character, it all works out, and at the end of the last season, Sir Pentious got redeemed by being self-sacrificial rather than self-serving, which also implies a lot that's not addressed by the show in any way, but Pentious is in heaven now, after he was killed by Adam, a resident of heaven. One potential guest sighs happily about how much they love murder.
Angels love murder.
Forget that last part.
Alistair is doing some green hell magic thing, and Vaggie, Charlie's girlfriend, treats us to some very direct exposition while checking guests in to let us know that she's changing her name. Wow, I wonder if that won't be important at all. So for the beginning of this scene, my advice would just be, make it less bad. For Vaggie, it would be extremely simple to just show her struggling with her name, have her constantly changing a name tag or introducing herself differently to every guest. If you can't figure out that she's trying to find a new name for herself, at the very least you'll notice, hey, something ain't right. But right now she's kind of doing that, introducing herself with different names, but she's also making sure we know exactly why by stating several times that she is changing her name. Bad storytelling aside, I'm sure that won't be confusing at all to guests who need help and are looking for the non-existent employee who checked them in. Alistair, the host, I guess, of the hotel, isn't doing anything. Lucifer is just standing around. Wow, just like the last season. Also, just like the last season, they still hate each other. There's some newscasters at the hotel reporting absolute nonsense. And one says, is it true she drinks angel blood to improve her gay powers? Which would be hilarious if it wasn't basically the ending of Stranger Things. It looks like Bendy's here? What's that about?
No copyright law in the universe is going to stop me!
Well, the bar is in hell. Literally, in a rehab center, and is run by an alcoholic. Husk. By alcoholics, for alcoholics. But that doesn't matter. Only vibes matter, and they're all bad. I did laugh at the drink names, though. Virgin Sacrifice Pina Coladas, and the Harder Daddy. Guess who ordered that one? If you didn't guess Angel, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with Angel is that the story still can't decide if we should feel bad for him because he's clearly a victim of ABUSE, but also still really wants to play up his perversion as a positive part of his character. All that to say, Angel's still being disgusting. Husk asks Angel to help, other than using his star power and sexuality, I guess, to attract guests to the hotel. Then the show makes a joke about Husk being upset that Angel's pet pig gobbled the nuts on the bar counter. Yeah, that's the kind of show this is. And Angel says to not say something so lurid in front of his baby pig. Even though this is a joke,
I use that term loosely.
it's only funny because they clearly have some sense of propriety, because the joke is the rejection of that by scandalizing Angel's poor pet pig. Angel continues to exploit himself. It's okay because it's his choice. There's a lot of direct dialogue about Angel's career choice as an adult film star and what the viewers do to themselves while watching said films. Cherry Bomb is there, also refusing to help. She and Pensius had kind of a rivals to lovers thing in season 1 before he got redeemed. Vaggie flies over because she is an angel. The extermination kind, not the adult film star kind. Was a huge but meaningless reveal in season 1, and Angel tells Vaggie, the angel, that he hopes Charlie's up for therapy because he's ready to talk about feelings and stuff. But Charlie's in the lounge with one of Pensius's egg minions where we find her sobbing while everyone else runs her hotel because she's unaware that her main character powers ensured her very stupid plan's success. So she just thinks Pensius died, which honestly is understandable for her to think that. It's just stupid how we got here. Makes sense that Angel would want her to help with feelings and stuff. She's clearly got a good grasp on handling them. Wow. Speaking of crying, Charlie continues to cry as Egg Minion points out all the statues of Pensius crying? Who made these? Wouldn't Pensius be really self-aggrandizing? I don't see him making these. He does possibly the only heroic and manly thing in the entire show, so we have to make sure he's remembered as a crybaby. This show. Hi, baby. Can you not scream? Mommy's making a fool of herself on the internet again. Showing off my lack of media literacy. Charlie's first line as she continues to sob is, "He truly was the best of us, or at least the most snake." Girl, what? I mean, I get the joke she's trying to make. It's just dumb, especially because Pensius truly was the best of you guys, including you, Charlie. So it doesn't even make sense. It's not like she needs to try that hard to find a good quality in Pensius. He's pretty much the only one in the show with any good qualities to begin with. I guess we're just reestablishing how emotionally unstable and, well, stupid Charlie is right off the bat. Vaggie comes in and Charlie immediately kind of tries to pretend that everything is fine by completely freaking out, which is actually pretty par for the course for her, so bad writing aside, honestly, it kind of makes sense that Vaggie doesn't take this more seriously. What I will give the story credit for is the way it lets us know that Charlie doesn't know how redemption works, even though she does claim that she does the rest of the show. Anyways, instead of just saying, "I don't know how redemption works," she implies it by freaking out about the reporters and guests potentially wanting to know about how redemption works. The best this show has to offer is the bare minimum. Unfortunately, because with this one exception, we've been bombarded with direct exposition and dialogue already, only 5 minutes in, I don't think this is an indication that the storytelling will be improving in this season. Rather, it's probably because she doesn't want Vaggie to know, even though it's obvious, how upset she is, and just like in season 1, we'll get some pointless melodrama. Yay, my favorite! It's also hilarious that not only is this a plot point in this season, but also that Charlie admits to not knowing how redemption works and is bothered by it, because that was a huge issue in season 1, but neither Charlie nor the story addressed it. She just plowed ahead despite her obvious ignorance. Cut to Vox angrily reading a newspaper headline painting Charlie's hotel in a vague yet somewhat positive light. Also, I will freely admit that this is a nitpick, but what a waste of a newspaper. All the text is blurred out. The only advertisements with readable text contain information we already know or is just plain boring. This could have been a fun opportunity for interested people to pause the show and read some funny advertisements or a funny article. This show is supposed to be a comedy, I think. Of course, with the humor in this show, it would probably just be trying to squish as many swears as possible into each paragraph. So even if this opportunity had been taken, it would have inevitably been a waste. I mean, it could even be an Easter egg or a reference to Vivzi's other work, just something. I said this was a nitpick, but it is kind of funny that this newspaper gives us the bare minimum of the information we need to understand what's going on. You see the potential there, the words, the page space, but all of it is wasted. No creativity went into this, just like the rest of the show. Killjoy slaps around her kind of co-host Tom. I mean, I get it, he is really tomming up the place. Vox is angry that Killjoy wrote the somewhat positive headline in the newspaper. Killjoy is angry that Vox doesn't want to sleep with her. She continues to hit on Vox while he rejects her constant and desperate advances. While she's written just like Angel, it's supposed to be funny when Angel does this to other people because he's one of the good guys.
I use that term loosely.
But it's disgusting when Killjoy does it because she's the worst of the worst. Not only is she making unwanted advances to a gay man, but she later reveals she's homophobic.
Which is the worst crime of all.
Nifty cleans the floor, we're back at the hotel now, while Angel and Cherry look at a surprisingly majestic painting of Penchus and, unsurprisingly, talk very directly about the loss of Penchus and Cherry's survivor's guilt. Shortly before dying to protect Cherry, Penchus declared his love for her, and now Cherry is also sorting out those feelings as well. Upon seeing how many reporters and potential guests there are, Charlie perks up, almost like her feelings are dependent on her environment and she's incapable of any introspection and self-regulation. Just the kind of person you want rehabilitating people, but also just the kind of person who would think she can help. Girl, I love you, but please stop meowing. Come here. I love you so much, but please not now. But also, just the kind of person who thinks she can help other people, so that's actually kind of realistic. The reporters jump on her, hitting her with a barrage of questions about the violence inflicted on the Angels, so she immediately starts freaking out again. Then she backs away into her Penchus replacement, Baxter. He's an inventor, just like Penchus. Charlie can't even tell the difference. And don't you worry your pretty little head, the show makes this more than abundantly clear. She even calls him Penchus instead of Baxter multiple times. I actually kind of like Baxter's design, but in my opinion, he doesn't seem to fit into the show that well, which is weird because you'd think a deviation from all the incessant red in the show would be a welcome break for the eyes, but it actually makes him stand out more than he should as a completely pointless character. Charlie treats Baxter like a child and completely ignores him and his needs in favor of, again, her own ego and fragile emotional state, and tries to use Baxter to, again, just like in season 1, make herself feel better. It's almost like she's not equipped in any way to run an operation like this. Oh, goody, now it's time for our first song. Nothing really happens beyond checking Baxter into the hotel and repeating things we already very much know. Charlie does sing that you shouldn't turn to violence, so that's interesting. You know what, I'm just gonna talk about this now. This is one of the many poorly thought out things in Hazbin. You don't have to deal with questions about morality and violence. Clearly the writers aren't capable of, well, anything, so just write something else. This is where write what you know comes in handy. You don't know, so don't write about this. Of course, you have to know something to write what you know, so that would be my first recommendation. Learn something. Think about something. Anything. Well, not anything, but hopefully you know what I mean. You need to be curious to be a good writer. Now, because the writers haven't put any thought into this, let's talk about how violence is handled in the series. Charlie is, most of the time, kind of anti-violence. Well, she claims to be against violence, let's just put it that way. In this song, she states her position that violence is bad, and because she thinks you need to forsake violence for redemption, we can also assume that she thinks it's wrong. Violent people belong in hell, as we can see. One of the main conflicts in Season 1 is the impending threat of heaven's extermination, where, to protect heaven, an army of violence-loving angels preemptively take out violence-loving sinners. During the climactic battle at the end, both sides, heaven and hell, claim to be protecting themselves, and both sides freely admit to enjoying the violence. Charlie, of course, sides with hell, and in the end, not only resorts to violence herself, especially when she gets angry, which the story justifies, she also specifically enlists the help of cannibals. And let's not forget that Alistair, the host of the hotel, whatever that means, is both a cannibal and a serial killer who has no interest in redemption, and Charlie has no qualms about working with him. So what we end up is not even a feelings-based system of morality, it's a main character-based morality system. Whatever the main character does is inherently right. The good guys are right not because they do good things, but because they've been designated as the good guys. Same for the villains. They're not bad on the merit of their actions, all of their actions are bad because they've been designated as the bad guys. So instead of a system of morality determining whether or not a character is good or bad, characters' alignment is determined based on whether or not they oppose the main character. Heck, even the good guys can be wrong if they oppose Charlie. There's the nuance, I guess. Anything is permissible if the main character does it, and if you think you're the main character, Back to the story though. There's no exploration of, is violence ever justified? Do you have to resort to it to protect those you love from a violent threat? Can you achieve your goals without it? How? How do you oppose violence in a violent world? What is the root cause of violence? Are people driven to violence, or are they inherently violent? These are not questions you have to ask, and clearly the writers weren't equipped or self-aware enough to answer them. And here it's just, if Charlie does it or sanctions it in this scene, it's okay. If not, it's bad. Listen, no story is perfect, and obviously a story can't answer every question, but this isn't a background detail. These are questions that the story not only brings up, but makes a big, very direct deal about. I think it's weird that heaven and hell are so small. This is where all the billions and billions of people throughout history are, but that's not an important detail. It's just important to the design and aesthetic of heaven and hell, so it's a question raised by the show, kind of, but it's not an important one because it doesn't have anything to do with the story, except that one time in Season 1 where overpopulation was brought up in passing to kind of try to rationalize the existence of Charlie's Hotel, but that should never have been a thing. Just let heaven and hell be small, don't address it. Every story's gonna have stuff like this. It's okay. What's not okay is making something incredibly plot relevant and refusing to address it or addressing it in a self-contradictory way. In this year's Lantern Rite event in Genshin Impact, a character gets possessed, and instead of focusing on the horrific loss of agency and just what an invasion of privacy that is, you're just supposed to focus on how weird the character is acting, which is fine. The story's focus isn't on agency and autonomy. If it was, that would have been really weird, but it wasn't. So, you know, it's something you can look at and go, wow, that's a really weird and kind of uncomfortable implication, but it wasn't integral to the story. It wasn't the focus. It's something you can let go because something else was the focus. Okay, people get bored and leave.
I wish that were me.
Vox sings his part of the song, which at least is more fun, and we're actually getting some relevant information, but I think that's because Charlie is the favorite and always has to be the center of things, but nothing's going on. We already know everything we need to know, so the show is forced to repeat itself, whereas when any other character gets a song, this is the only time they have to convey relevant information. Instead of repetition, we're more likely to end up with too much important information crammed into too little time, which is an especially huge problem in the finale, but we'll get there. So in the song, this sinner leaves the hotel because she's bored, and Vox tells her he can make her famous.
I'm gonna be a star.
And Vox, you know, technology, Velvet, the fashion industry, and Val, the adult entertainment industry. Actually, I might be giving the writers too much credit here. But anyways, they use her until she's got nothing left to give. They even trademark all her holes.
Well, holes are holes.
And then kick her to the curb. The not so subtle point is the V's will use you. Charlie wants to help you. The hotel with the power of friendship, and more importantly, Charlie is good. V Tower with fame, money, materialism, and probably capitalism or something is bad. This is at least not as contradictory as season 1. It's obvious, in your face, unnuanced, not well done, but it's not as bad as season 1. Could the bar get any lower? Speaking of not being subtle, there's a little tiff at the end of the song where Vox says to trust him instead of all the V's. Gee, I wonder if that's gonna play a part in the conflict. Back in the hotel, Charlie stands next to her girlfriend Vaggie, an angel, and says that angels aren't the best, but we should be better than them, the angels, in heaven, where she wants everyone in hell to go. Charlie says she wants to live in harmony, but what does that even mean? She just wants to conform people into her image, which is shown by the show to be morally correct, I guess, because she's the main character. But what even is the point of redemption anymore, because she was trying to get people out of hell because of the exterminations. And sure, I guess in the first season overpopulation was brought up maybe once or twice in passing, and I know she doesn't know yet, but she does find out that the extermination problem is solved. So is it just because of how yucky hell is, and whose fault is that? We don't see anything inherently terrible in hell, except Charlie being there, but we are constantly shown the sinners making hell a terrible place. We're also shown areas like Cannibal Town, where the sinners are capable of finding the time and discipline to keep the place nice, in between all the people they're eating. But come on, Vivzy, what do you want me to do with this information? Charlie says we shouldn't kill angels, and another sinner is ecstatic to see Nifty, the Atom Slayer, and hopes to get stabbed by her.
It's Nifty, the Atom Slayer!
See? This woman is a perfect example of what I was trying to say before.
Well, violently deranged would be a killer.
Then Charlie says Nifty stabbed Adam in self-defense, which just isn't true. Nifty's one character trait is stabbing. Oh, and bugs. 2 character traits. But Nifty loves stabbing. That's her thing. And the only reason the story let Nifty be the one to stab Adam was to first give Adam the dumbest, most anticlimactic death possible. Except in Sonic 3 it was actually kind of funny. And second, and more importantly, to keep Charlie's hands relatively clean-ish. While currently, the hotel is full of sinners just dying to kill angels. Speaking of self-defense, the sinners chant, "Kill angels," while Nifty just says, "Stab, stab, stab," over and over again. Charlie, girl, do you not have eyes? A reporter asks Charlie if you have to be a cannibal to get into the angel-killing hotel, in reference to Charlie teaming up with cannibals and serial killers to defend hell from heaven. Gosh, I wonder why heaven was so concerned. The other characters notice how poorly Charlie's doing under all that pressure. Lucifer pops in to take over, which is sure to go well. Incompetence runs in the family.
A family trait, I think.
Ah, yes. He just teleports them both out of there. A tactical retreat, I guess. Vox has a pet demon shark? Ghost?
Yes? Oh no.
Where can I get one of these?
What even is that?
It's a shark thing. That doesn't matter. What matters is I want one. Well?
We're passing through the galaxy of Terra right now. The closest pet port is in the Forbidden Zone.
Well, that sounds like a nice place. Might as well do some sightseeing on the way.
We can see the sights, but we are not getting a pet shark.
Oh, I like this show now. Hell is so much cooler than heaven.
Which is one of the problems of this show.
After Vox introduces us to Shockwave, the best and biggest demon shark in the whole world, Val and Velvet enter the lair. Val isn't alone, so Vox throws the object of Val's attention to Shockwave for a snack to reinforce how they view sinners and how death and violence means nothing to them. Except I think sinners can't die unless it's like angelic steel or something, so Shockwave's snack is actually probably fine.
Have you thought about what you're going to feed your new pet?
We got a few thousand subscribers. That'll take care of food for a while at least. Anyways, Vox, the most equal of the three equal partners of the V's, berates Velvet for messing with Carmine because that makes business more difficult. And Val has to stop Abusing, Angel, in public, even though they all think it's funny. Vox says their brand is perfection, which is interesting because he's in hell, and heaven plays such a big part in this story. Perfection to him means not looking weak, which is also interesting because looking weak is pretty much the only thing any of these characters do in this show, and specifically Vox. And it's not even to say anything interesting about that, it's just because of bad writing again. So Vox plans to use the hotel's clout and the new information that angels can indeed be killed to stage an uprising against heaven, which just confirms that heaven was indeed right all along to fear hell. I do think it's a good concept of a plan, certainly better than anything in season 1, but just like in season 1, he even presented his plan in crayon, just like Charlie. Is that the only writing utensil in hell? You've just got rose art crayons, that's it? Lucifer's teleported Charlie to a room full of rubber ducks. He tells Charlie it's okay to be a little off because she lost Penchus and the old hotel, even though it was rebuilt immediately and the loss of the hotel meant nothing symbolically to the story, so there's nothing worth grieving here. She asks her dad how he deals with the stress of being in charge of things.
Somehow I manage.
Honestly, pretty much the same as you, Charlie, by doing absolutely nothing and also freaking out all the time, but unlike you, he doesn't pretend to be doing anything, he just hides away with his rubber ducks.
What exactly is the function of a rubber duck?
I can at least respect his honesty. Charlie says her mom Lilith would know what to do. Charlie tells us she was calm and collected, handled herself well, had good leadership skills. Wow, Charlie only took after her dad. It'll be interesting when we eventually do meet Lilith or get a flashback or something to see what she's actually like. Charlie isn't the most reliable narrator. Lucifer still misses Lilith.
My ex-wife still misses me, but her aim is getting better.
Even though it sounds like she didn't treat him or Charlie very well, and she assures Charlie that he hopes Lilith would be very proud of her. Charlie calls her mom again and leaves another of many messages hoping to get her advice. The message is super long and pointless because it's just reiterating everything we already knew, no new information. We already even knew she was desperate for her mom's validation, so pointless scene? More direct exposition where Vaggie tells us that she's changing her name. We already knew that because Adam named her. Oh, okay. And it's demeaning, except he pronounced it Vaggie.
What? I don't know the meaning of that word.
Charlie comes back out into the hotel lobby and announces that the Hazbin Hotel is a place of peace and its mission is to redeem sinners, even though she still doesn't know that it's possible, yet she's still right. What's interesting about this is that she says sinners have to change and earn their way to a better life. Keep that in mind as we go through this. Of course, as she makes this clear, everyone leaves. And the thing is, I think it's supposed to be because the obstacle Charlie is supposed to face is no one believing in her, which is so sad because her idea is so nice and so good. But the real problem is that no one wants to change, but we're not addressing that. Baxter officially becomes a resident of the hotel. He wants to research redemption and suspects that it will be a hilarious and intellectually stimulating failure. Failure, yes. Hilarious and intellectually stimulating, unfortunately no. Back to the V's, to excuse the exposition, Val is a complete moron.
And complete morons are rare.
And keeps asking what's going on because he's confused. But really, their plan isn't unnecessary exposition, that's useful information, and it's not weird for Vox to share it in this setting. The only thing that's gratuitous here is how stupid Val and everyone else is. And Val doesn't get why they need to rule heaven. Who cares? They're satisfied being down here. And also, how would they even get up to heaven? Rather than answer any of these actually important questions, Vox tells us he was a cult leader.
I've been involved in a number of cults, both as a leader and a follower. You have more fun as a follower, but you make more money as a leader.
Likes the feeling of being a god.
We could rule them like gods. Angry gods.
And to get their help, tells them he just wants to share that feeling with them. How can these be bad guys if they just want to share their feelings with each other? Time for another song. Vox sings, "It's not what heaven is, it's what it could be." Honestly, I feel that. That is how I see everything. It's not what it is, it's what it could be. Even this show. But anyways, Vox doesn't really give us any good reasons for attacking heaven. He says there's souls they could command, but aren't there way more in hell? Wasn't that supposed to be the plot of season 1? He says heaven would be an upgrade, but why? It just seems like it's because it's there and we needed a conflict for this season. And if you're as stupid as Val and somehow missed this vital information, the song also lets us know that Vox has a huge ego. Oh, interesting. So this song is the first mention of God. No mention of him in season 1. Ghost, didn't the creation myth montage at the beginning of season 1 say that the angels created everything?
Not just that, they very carefully omitted any mention of God and instead said the angels worshipped a vague concept of good.
Right, that too.
Weird.
In this scene, it would seem like they think ruling heaven is what makes someone a god. So are they just gonna fight God now? Is this arcane now? They also sing the line, "What's an overlord to a deity?" by which they mean, what are the overlords going to do once they're deities and so much more powerful? But I feel like they're missing the obvious, which is that they are currently overlords about to go up against a deity, which, in their words, is so much more powerful.
Maybe, run your evil plan by some friends next time, huh? Workshop it.
The song ends with, "Once I and I and I get up there, they're effed." But again, no mention of how you plan on getting up there. And Val specifically asked. You didn't have to ask, but now you've called attention to it. Sometimes I feel like this show is purposefully mocking the viewers, but it can easily be chalked up to bad writing and incompetence. Vaggie is still trying to figure out a new name. Charlie laments the loss of Penchus again in a much more stable way. She says she wishes she could just stop the feelings so she could just get done what she needs to. And Vaggie says, and I quote, "The feelings are important, you're allowed to feel them." Charlie's feelings are the main character in this show after all. Here's the thing, all feelings are real, but they're not necessarily valid. And certainly it's not always the right time to express them.
You should write a book. How to offend women in 5 syllables or less.
It's not wrong for Charlie to mourn what she thinks is the loss of Penchus, but time and time again, Charlie's feelings, regardless of how ridiculous they are or whether they're putting someone in danger, her feelings are always treated as the most important thing by the show. That's stupid, that's unhealthy, and Vaggie isn't being helpful here, she's enabling and babying Charlie. Vaggie's like Charlie's imaginary friend, who's always there for her in just the way she imagines she needs.
As I expected, practically perfect in every way.
Or like a specially programmed AI therapist that toxically affirms everything she does. Although I guess real therapists are like that too. We get another report from Katie Killjoy where she puts out a hit piece on Charlie and the Hazbin Hotel saying that Charlie hates demons and wants to force sinners to change and fit into her restrictive puritanical mold. But here's the thing. That is what Charlie is trying to do, except for the puritanical part. But Charlie does want sinners to change. Everything Charlie does is right, characters are rewarded when they act like Charlie or agree with her, and punished when they disagree with her or go against what she wants. It's rare for sure, but the mainstream news does occasionally get it right. Meanwhile, the V's have opened a sanctuary for those hurt by Charlie. It's amazing what you can do when the media's on your side. And amazing how many people will believe it. Except in this case, Charlie does hurt people, not these people, and not in the way they're saying. But again, they're not wrong. Charlie sees this and is furious, but then a portal opens up and Emily, an angel from heaven, pops out to tell her that heaven is going into lockdown to protect itself and Penchus has been redeemed. She also says that the hotel worked, which is highly debatable. And that's where episode 1 ends, with Charlie being right about everything yet again, and also handling things in a completely emotionally mature way.
I'm sorry if that sounded like sarcasm.
Episode 2 opens with Penchus being interrogated in heaven. The angels are freaking out. Emily's flying around saying, "We should be concerned about making things right," in regards to the exterminations, which she feels really bad about. This isn't weird at all. I mean, it's not like we had a scene in the last episode of the sinners chanting, kill angels," over and over again. Emily says they need to talk to Charlie, not because she's competent, capable, or relevant, but because she's the main character, and even when she's not in a scene, we still have to talk about her. So now the other angels are upset that Sarah, who, in an effort to protect heaven from the sinners who very openly want to kill them, authorized the exterminations. We had an entire song, I know I just said this, but we had an entire song in the last episode about how the V's want to take over heaven. It's not even accidentally implied, it's direct. This is the part of the story you're supposed to pay attention to.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain!
Emily says that the exterminations have always been wrong and that they bear some of that responsibility. I like that she specifies some of the responsibility. Who bears the rest of it? I guess just Sarah? Maybe? I don't know, whatever. Another angel is worried that hell might want vengeance after killing Adam, the leader of heaven's army. The dialogue here, first of all, is very poorly worded, but also everything about this is just so dumb. And not just because of this scene, but because of everything leading up to this episode. Is there a different writer every second of this show? What's the point of writing a show when nothing you've written matters, means anything, or connects to anything? Apparently at some point, Sarah told the other angels that redemption is impossible and that souls are decided and nothing can change that. Sarah's super stressed because this is new information. This goes against everything she's ever believed and based her decisions on, which I like. This is very interesting in concept. But are we gonna do anything interesting with it?
Of course not! What?
Sarah's confused and freaking out, but in a much more understandable way than Charlie. Lude is also confused and freaking out a bit, but in a much more violence-y kind of way. She says they need to take action against hell because they killed Adam. Meanwhile, a new character, Abel, who stutters his way through saying that they should get back on track and focus on Penchus. Abel is the son of Adam, and not only did Adam not like him, but also everyone seems to be embarrassed by and for Abel. Great, yet another weak, pathetic male character. Off to a great start, Vivsy.
Yes, I have a lot to say about that.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
No. It needs its own video.
Oh, a topical video. I see. All right, that's great. But you're gonna have to handle that. I have got more than enough on my plate already.
And you want to add caring for a demon shark to that plate?
Oh, right, my demon shark. Are we in the Forbidden Zone yet? How far away are we?
I'll go find out.
Thank you. Sarah opens all of her eyes, then stares down Penchus, who feels threatened, and he hisses at her. And another new character tells her to calm down. This new character is the Speaker of God. Like the Mouth of Sauron, I guess? Maybe. It's been a while since I've read Lord of the Rings. Anyway, this is a weird character. I guess her name answers some of my questions, but also raises so many more. She breaks Penchus's chains, which I didn't mention before because it seemed pretty reasonable considering where he came from and the circumstances of his arrival here and what he was doing up until his redemption. But I forgot that anything short of the red carpet for one of the favored characters is mean, and you should feel bad for them. The Speaker of God asks Penchus to tell his story, which I'm actually excited about. I'd actually like to know the backstory of these characters, just out of curiosity. What did they look like when they were human? What time period are they from? Where in the world do they hail from? What did they do? What choices did they make that landed them in hell, implying personal responsibility? Charlie's dumber than a sack of rocks. She's always right on the merit of being the main character, and she has this idea that you can earn your way into heaven, again, implying personal responsibility, so there's probably something there. However, the characters' backstories should only be explored if they play into the story. Otherwise, that should just be extra material. So, even though I'm personally interested in this information, it should still only be included if it benefits the story. With the way things have been going, I actually expect it to undermine the story at the most. At the least, I expect it to be irrelevant. Okay, so Pentious is a reclusive inventor from late 1800s London who liked to people watch to the point of voyeurism to make up for the lack of relationships in his life. That's actually an interesting idea for a character, but this is the most depth we get, and you can barely tell Pentious is the same person beyond the design similarities. Anyway, one of these times he's people watching, he sees this beautiful girl get murdered by one of his clients, a rich and powerful man, and Pentious does nothing, and the client was never caught, and he went on to kill 5 more women. So this is actually kind of neat. I really enjoyed this sequence. However, first of all, none of this makes any difference to Pentious' story or character. All the characters have the same speech patterns and similar personalities. They all run together. Having people from such different times, eras, locations, worldviews, philosophies, this has so much potential, but it's all wasted. There's no point. It's like the immortality. It's meaningless. Just a vibe, just for the aesthetic. Everyone has a very simple vocabulary, and even more egregious, everyone has the same extremely modern and extremely shallow and simple perspective of things. This could have been really neat. All this potential.
Is like this whole thing a joke or what?
But also, and much more importantly, the story makes clear that the reason Pentious went to hell was for not taking action against evil. That's the very reason we're supposed to think the angels are the bad guys. You shouldn't protect yourself from hell because there's the possibility of redemption now? Could Jack the Ripper not have been redeemed? This is the only case where the victims have been shown not just sympathy, but priority, aside from Angel. Sometimes. He's a special case. And also, it's really disingenuous to focus so much on Pentious' story and hold him up as this example of why heaven shouldn't protect themselves from hell, as if the rest of hell isn't full of actual cannibals and serial killers, and a general population that's just dying to kill some angels. Guys, every scene seems to exist completely independently of every other scene. Consistency? Who cares about consistency? We just need to elicit the right emotions out of the viewer for each scene. That's how it feels like this was written. The Speaker of God asks why Pentious is here now, and he says he doesn't know, but his friends were in danger and he had to do something. Things click for Sarah, and she realizes Pentious was redeemed. Wow, what a thought-provoking 3-minute arc for her. Hey, it's more than some of the other characters get. But now at least things are getting interesting. For me, to think about. I mean, the show isn't gonna address any of this. Lute says this is all BS, Pentious was a coward, he deserved hell, he ended up there, and while trying to murder Adam, he was redeemed. Yeah, 100% of what she said was correct. I don't know why we bothered letting her say any of it, because she's obviously wrong just because she opposes Charlie and doesn't spew nonsense and toxic positivity everywhere she goes. Speaker goes on to tell us that because Pentious acted selflessly, he atoned for his sins and was redeemed, while completely ignoring the implications of everything Lute just brought up. Pentious' actions, trying to protect his loved ones by killing someone who posed a threat, actually were in self-defense and were selfless. Unlike Nifty, who did successfully and purposefully kill Adam just for funsies. He wasn't even trying to be redeemed, he was just trying to do the right thing just for the sake of it. Something I suspect Charlie is not going to understand, both because she's stupid and because this show has terrible writing. But let's get back to self-defense. This again implies that heaven is not wrong for also acting in self-defense. No thought was put into this. Nothing. Even though Lute is asking all the right questions. Lute's questions are what makes this interesting. There is so much potential for a thought-provoking storyline. Know your audience, I guess.
I've never been so insulted!
This is one of many reasons season 1 was so messy. You had Adam, one kind of obnoxious, jerky guy, and the exterminators, I guess, serving for the stand-in for all of heaven, who we could see, even in season 1, were pretty chill and not murdery, versus Pentious, a cowardly but genuine guy serving as the poster boy for all of hell, who we were clearly shown to be evil.
And loving it.
Lute desperately tries to plead with Sarah and Speaker, who are completely ignoring her, just saying he was redeemed, as if that answers her completely valid questions, even directly bringing up hell's dangerous history. Then, to add insult to injury, Lute finds out, in front of everyone, that she's not actually the head of the Exorcists. And listen, I don't think Lute is, stable, nor do I think she'd make a great leader of the Exorcists. I don't think she should be an exorcist at all. But this is in keeping with the Hazbin trend of doing your best to humiliate any Charlie opposers as much as possible. To be fair, Lute did bring this up and did make the assumption that she would take over as next in command, so I don't know, that seems like a reasonable expectation. Whatever, Lute is humiliated and ignored. They say they thought Abel would handle the situation better. I don't know why. Is everyone in heaven stupid and incompetent? That's the only way you could excuse this decision. If it was a hereditary position, the story could at least deal with this chump feeling like a failure and needing to earn his dead father's approval, especially with their complicated relationship. And then his story could mirror Charlie's. They're both incompetent Nepo babies desperate for parental approval. Do something with that. It's already in your story.
A brilliant idea.
Well,
that's what we need, a brilliant idea.
Believe it or not, there is actually potential in this show. Are we purposefully ignoring it? So Lute is, kind of crazy in this scene, but at least here it's kind of justified. And you know what? Why is no one offering to help her? She's clearly working through something here. Why isn't Emily, the Charlie of heaven, trying to reach out to her and comfort and encourage her? Oh right, it's because of the role she's been assigned.
You want me to be the bad guy? Fine. Now I'm the bad guy.
This story about change and redemption is so unintentionally fatalistic. Lute can't change because the story won't let her. And as far as we know, she's the only one here, besides Penchus of course, who has been in hell and seen this stuff firsthand. And I do mean all of the exterminators, she's just the only one I saw. We did see that in season 1, she's just kind of like this, but at the same time, we haven't seen her or any exorcists before going to hell. We don't know if this is just how she is or if she's reacting to the trauma of seeing so much hatred and evil. And here I thought having trauma in this show absolved you of anything. Well, only if you're one of Charlie's favored ones. Anyways, there's more potential here too. But we can't even begin to get into any of that because we have to save screen time for all the gratuitous swearing and boring sex jokes. And anything of depth might require some self-reflection from Charlie, and she probably doesn't even have the intellectual capacity to recognize her own reflection in the mirror, much less the horrifying reality of her many, many flaws.
I heard something about horrifying. I thought you'd want to know we've entered the zone of no return.
Oh, lovely. Sarah tells Emily to take care of Penchus and to get him acclimated. As St. Peter, the angel at the gate, is leaving, he gets told to shut up. Not important to the story, but interesting how Viv consistently treats her male characters.
I believe you humans call it daddy issues.
Yeesh. Lute tries to talk to Sarah again. She says she contacted Lilith, and Sarah is very upset by this and tells her to stand down. Lute's even angrier now. Meanwhile, Lilith seems to be having a grand old time hanging out under these angel wing trees, surrounded by all these goodies. Lute texts her that she's off the hook for now, and then Lilith ignores a call from Charlie. Man, I can't believe we didn't get any dialogue of her directly telling us that she's ignoring her daughter. I guess they don't have to pay her voice actress now. We also see a bunch of missed calls and texts from Lucifer and Charlie. It's funny that Penchus seems to find Emily so off-putting, or at least too invasive, because she's just Charlie in a different font. Not even a different font, just a different color. He should find that familiar or comforting, or be excited to make new friends, except the show has already designated his friends already, and they're in hell, and he should be there too. I'm not saying he wouldn't miss his friends, that's not weird at all. It's just that he clearly doesn't want to be in heaven. But that can't be. Charlie can't be wrong for wanting to force people up there. I did bring up several times, at least in my last video, that Charlie's pitch doesn't even make sense because why would they even want to go to heaven in the first place? It's such a burden being right about everything all the time.
Am I better than everyone?
So, heaven is just eating sugar and cuddling fluffy animals.
I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about diabetes.
Emily is actually way less annoying than Charlie, but the show treats her as more annoying? It's Fascinating. Then Emily says that redemption has never happened before, and Penchus is sad because he's alone. And then she sings a song about how Penchus is a freak and doesn't fit into heaven, and that's why he'll have an easy time making new friends. She does actually mean that because he's so different, everyone will be interested in getting to know him. It's still funny though. Throughout the song, he breaks things and messes up because he hasn't quite assimilated to heaven yet. See, that's the kind of thing he should have been briefed on, or that Charlie should be covering in her stupid hotel. Even she expects people to change. I mean, obviously she doesn't know what that means, but yeah, it's not weird that Penchus is having a hard time adjusting. Wow, if only there was something like a halfway house or something to help him adjust. Maybe a hotel? Accidents do happen, although you'd think not in heaven, but he can't just go around purposefully breaking things. Yet more evidence that the reason hell sucks is because of the people there. So then in Penchus's part of the song, he's building a machine to go back to hell to see his friends. Charlie.
He's a complete moron, and complete morons are rare.
He's bored and miserable. He can't even commit Canadian healthcare to escape his perfect prison. Is that it? Is that the message? Perfection is boring? However you look at it, Charlie is wrong. She's wrong about heaven being a better place. It's boring. Everyone really does want to stay in hell and have fun. And as you know, you can only have fun if you're doing bad things. I mean, to be fair, heaven does look stupid and boring in this show, but people don't want to leave hell. They don't want to change. And why would they? They would only be bored in a boring place. Why is Penchus a pure soul now, or whatever speaker said? Why then has only his color palette changed? He committed one selfless act, but is still essentially the same person. It seems like he hasn't actually changed. I don't know, maybe the hotel should be for people whose souls are being purified if the moment of your redemption doesn't entirely change you. If he's a pure soul, is every action of his considered pure now? Also, who maintains the infrastructure in heaven? Do people have jobs? Is it the angels? Is it angel magic maintaining everything? Sarah confesses to Speaker that she is filled with guilt because she thought she was doing the right thing until she found out that these souls actually could be changed. Okay, here's why this is dumb. No, wait. First, why this is good and could be interesting is that this is true. She genuinely thought she was doing what was right and now has to bear the weight of the consequences of her decision now that she has more information. Oh my gosh, that is so interesting, and yet nothing will come of it. Okay, now why this is extremely stupid is because, first of all, Penchus is not representative of who is in hell. He is an outlier. From everyone we've seen, he is the least bad, the best hell has to offer. If not for the story deciding his fate for him, he's the kind of character you'd expect to fit better in heaven than in hell. Then Sarah sings a whole song about how her actions were evil because those souls she ordered to be exterminated she thinks could have changed, even though that's the exact reason Penchus went to hell in the first place, for not confronting evil or protecting others. I understand Sarah questioning her decisions. I mean, conceptually I understand. It's an interesting story beat for her, but she definitely did make the right decision. She sings about how bad she feels about the dead sinners, and girl, have you thought about all the people in heaven? The ones you are supposedly trying to protect? This show isn't very creative, even when it comes to sin, but we've got cannibals, murderers, serial killers, RAPISTSs. You know what you need to commit all of those crimes? Victims! And at least some of those victims are in heaven. What about them, Sarah? Huh? Why didn't Penchus have to confront those 5 women that died because of his cowardice? Now that would have made way more sense for his character and redemption. See, his backstory only made the story weaker and make his redemption make less sense. Okay, Sarah's still singing. The speaker says some meaningless platitudes about igniting the light you're looking for, but at least says that your mistakes are meant to be learned from. Sarah wants to know how to atone for protecting the innocent in heaven, and is also desperate for guidance on how to proceed. But Speaker just says nah and flies off. Lute is pushing her way through a crowd and starts sobbing angrily. Okay, so in the show, we don't know that much about exorcists. You know, how was she trained? Was she created specifically for this purpose? Does she also feel like she has no purpose now if she can't do the one thing that we know of that exorcists are supposed to do? Oh, girl is not okay. She punches the wall and, oh my gosh, starts hallucinating about Adam. I mean, at least we have the one almost funny character back in the show. Okay, so during this imagined exchange, Lou does bring up a good point to herself. No one cares that Adam's dead. Why didn't I notice that? Stupid. At the very least, even if nobody liked him, they should be concerned about his death and what that means. You know, everything that Luke brought up and had dismissed. I think one angel in the room brought it up, but he was also dismissed. And it's very immature to dismiss information just because you, or in this case, the show, doesn't like someone. She brings up totally valid points, but the story won't even pretend to explore them. If Lute is bringing this stuff up, someone obviously thought for 2 seconds about it.
Got to talk to the writers.
But I guess not more than 2 seconds.
Man, this is terrible. Those guys are really overpaid.
You see the implications, some interesting routes for your story, but refuse to go into them? Why? Then Lute, after being affirmed by her delusion, decides that she's the only one who can do anything, which actually makes perfect sense with how things have been set up. I, however, predict that the story will not go anywhere interesting, but it is a great setup. Also, if Lute's very clearly mentally ill now, why isn't she a sympathetic character now? I thought that could excuse you from anything. This isn't someone self-diagnosing on TikTok or Tumblr. This is actually concerning. Anyways, Sarah meets with Abel and Michael. She says Lute is correct, but you couldn't have told that to poor Lute? Lute is responsible for her actions, at least somewhat, depending on her frame of mind, I guess. But Sarah is freaking out over the exterminations while possibly sending Lute off the deep end in real time because she refused to acknowledge her very real concerns? Sarah says that the sinners may want to take their pain out on them, which is a very interesting way to phrase it, like she's trying to remove the responsibility from them. When in hell, we actually see people being horrible and murdery and having a grand old time.
This is your badness level.
They're this way because they want to be, and they're enjoying it.
It's unusually high for someone your size.
In a good story, this would be Sarah being unable to view things from the sinner's perspective because heaven is all she's ever known. She can't even wrap her mind around the depravity in the sinner's hearts. This is like when sometimes people don't understand the heinous things that go on in other parts of the world or in history because they're completely unable to look beyond their extremely limited modern Western, vaguely nice worldview. Why would anyone think differently from me? And honestly, that's one of many reasons this show is so poorly written. I don't think the writers understand their own perspectives, much less anyone else's. If you want to be a good writer, examine your own perspective, understand it, and also seek to understand those with a different perspective from you. Really, all you need is to know at least one other person, even in the same culture, heck, even in the same family. That person is still going to have a different perspective than you. Find out how and why, and then think about it. Especially someone who disagrees with you. Those are the most interesting perspectives to think about. And it won't just help with your writing, it's just helpful in life. Wowee, Abel is even dumber than I gave him credit for. Sarah, why are you asking him for advice? I think he needs help feeding himself. He shouldn't be unsupervised, much less leading an army, Sarah. Well, St. Peter is also stupid and not helpful. Nothing really gained in this scene, no new information. I already knew all these characters were stupid. Penchus tries to invent an egg boy minion. Emily praises him for his creativity and then offers him some more sugar, because heaven is cupcakes and rainbows and pangolins. Then Emily does something that raises many questions for me. Unable to see Penchus sad, she grunts and strains and brings into existence some happy flying golden egg minions. Did she just create life? Who else can do that? I mean, clearly it was a strain, but not too much of one. This was pretty easy. Are they sentient? Sapient? What did she do and what does it mean?
What does it mean? What does it mean?
I guess the Hazbin Hotel creation myth does have the angels creating everything, but still, nothing is thought through on this show. Oh well, at least Penchus is happy now. Lute continues to be not okay and sings the only song in this entire show that I actually like, both seasons. I added it to my playlist immediately and have been jamming to it ever since. Lute sings alongside her hallucination of Adam, and we find out that Lute loved him, I guess? She doesn't actually care about defending heaven at all. She's just a woman scorned. Checks out, but I mean, seems a little sexist for this show. We don't really get a lot of new information in this song, but it also doesn't seem out of place like the songs in the first season, and it's an absolute banger. Oh, also, the animation in this season has been so much better and so much more dynamic than season 1, so good on them for that. Also, going between heaven and hell more and having a slightly wider range in the color palette has been a welcome change for my eyes. Okay, Emily's made Penchus a makeshift lair, I guess, and painted a mural of all the friends he's missing. And again, he acts a little creeped out by it, and is a wee bit condescending, which is really interesting because Charlie is way more invasive than this. And Emily is going out of her way to cater to Penchus. Wait a second, Emily is actually doing a better job than Charlie. Charlie wants people to enjoy things and like things in the exact way she does. And everyone kind of just goes along with it because it's Charlie. And Emily is actually noticing how Penchus is different and going out of her way to understand him and help him in a way specific to his needs. And the show's treating her like she's a creep. Emily is still annoying, I get that, but she's actually thinking of others, unlike Charlie.
I don't care what Freud said about your selfish need for satisfaction. You're all right with me.
Sarah makes an announcement that heaven is closing its borders to other realms, I guess, which I don't really get because who was coming in and out before, besides the exorcists? What other realms? Plural. New souls can still come in, but there's a stricter security protocol. Even in hell, they said they had no idea how to get to heaven, and Emily has told Penchus several times in this episode that he can't leave. Why is Sarah even making this announcement? All she had to do was put up the border, and everyone goes about their day, nothing changed. As for the new souls, they're new. It's not like heightened security would mean anything to them. They've never been here before. It's not like the V's where they're trying to instill fear in everyone. I mean, what is going on? The episode ends with Emily popping through a portal to warn Charlie, so basically this is what was going on in heaven during episode 1. And Penchus cries on his bed, surrounded by his egg minions and the mural of his friends that Emily so nicely made for him. Episode 3 picks up right where episode 1, and 2 ended, with Charlie screaming. Gosh, instead of giving Charlie a personality, they just made her overreact to everything. I guess this is supposed to be cute or something, or make it look like she cares?
I have a medical condition, all right. It's called caring too much, and it's incurable!
I think it's hilarious that Charlie just summarizes what happened in the last episode to get her friends caught up. She didn't even say, "You won't believe what happened," and then we get a cutaway or something. Nope, just a summary of what just happened that we just watched. It's also hilarious that Vaggie says, "The hotel works." No it doesn't. What did the hotel, or you, do, Charlie? I know Penchus and the show give credit to Charlie, but that's because of the pro-Charlie bias. Because if you use, your eyes, Charlie has no understanding of morality, redemption, people. She's not even setting a good example herself. Penchus sacrificed himself for people that didn't really care about him until after he died, which really makes it a truly self-sacrificial act. Even the show treated him like a joke during season 1. He's only important to Charlie and the show now because he's useful.
Here.
Penchus was a throwaway villain for the pilot. Oh, I see. Ghost has some information on Penchus for us. Penchus was a throwaway villain for the pilot, meant to be more of a quirky joke character than anything else. But, like a lot of Vivzy Pop's jokes, she got overly attached to it, as did the fandom, and turned him into an actual part of the story. In fairness, Penchus at least is entertaining a lot of the time, when he's not crying. So true. And this joke-turned-serious element turned out better than Vivzy Pop's other attempts. One of the worst examples being from her other show, I assume Hell of a Boss. Haven't seen it, but I assume that's what we're talking about. Stolas? I don't know how to pronounce this. Stolas was meant to be an overly perverted rich aristocrat sexually harassing Blitz as a gag, but after the pilot, their relationship becomes an actual plot point, and then Stolas gets turned into a soft boy. It's really weird and toxic. Yeah, sounds like it. Well, thanks, Ghost. I did not know any of that. Anyways, as Charlie yet again jumps the oh wait, can I say that on YouTube? Jumps the pew. What was I even saying? Oh right, Charlie is running around telling everyone, even contacting Vox Tech with no evidence, and completely ignoring Vaggie, who is asking extremely important questions such as, what was that about heaven being in lockdown? Do we know for sure Pentious was redeemed? Clearly, someone working on this show is thinking about these important questions, but dealing with them would require more talent and thought than just dismissing them. This entire show is a complete joke. It expects you to take it seriously when it doesn't even take itself seriously. Speaking of not taking anything seriously, Charlie, in her infinite wisdom, tells Vox Tech to send down their top reporter for an exclusive interview to set the record straight so people will flock to the hotel and Heaven will realize just how great Charlie is. So close to self-awareness. Vox and Velvet are ecstatic to receive the invite from Charlie, and Cherry talks with Angel and Husk, trying to process the implications of what happened with Pentious. Wait, no, that's what they should be doing. They're just kind of casually chatting about some surface-level details that we, for the most part, already knew. And the only reason Cherry's very obvious crush on Pentious isn't being directly talked about is because her pretending not to have a crush on him is the joke. I think it would be interesting if Pentious' self-sacrifice and death made a huge difference for these guys, not just because of the hope it could give them, but also seeing Pentious change could either be inspiring or inspire jealousy in them. Why don't we have a character who really wants to change and then gets upset that Pentious got redeemed and is angry with themselves over their own failure, saying it was so much easier for Pentious or something like that? Also, something I know the show won't go into is that now that the sinners know redemption is possible and it at least seems to be triggered by committing a selfless act, that will probably make redemption that much harder. Because how are you going to commit a truly selfless act when you're trying to save yourself? How do you separate those things? That could make for an interesting story, but no! One of the reasons Pentious' act was truly selfless was because his motivation was to save others, not himself. The show isn't going to address this. Charlie is too stupid and self-absorbed to understand this. She's probably going to force the residents to try to sacrifice themselves in the exact same way Pentious did because she doesn't understand the essence of the sacrificial act. She's an extremely concrete thinker. She just sees Pentious blew himself up in a blimp opposing an angel, so that must be what redeems people. There is no way the story will be able to deal with the complexities of selflessness and redemption because, by concrete thinker, I mean it's like Charlie had a chunk of concrete dropped on her thinker. I wish someone would drop a chunk of concrete on my head. Then I wouldn't have to finish this show. Or, if I survived, at least I might be able to enjoy the show. What, you're not gonna comment on my lame joke? Ghost?
There's something weird on the radar.
Weird? What do you mean weird? We're in the zone of no return. You expect weird.
I'll look into it. You're doing important work. I'll let you know if anything changes.
It better not. I don't want anything getting in the way of me getting my pet demon shark. That would ruin my day. Alright, where were we? Cherry leaves to go find Baxter to definitely not ask him questions about Pentious, who she's definitely not in love with. Shut up. And Vox and Velvet show up to make a fool out of the ever-overconfident Charlie, even though she's already doing a great job of that herself. See, Charlie is good at something. There's a lot of lines and bits that almost make it seem like this show is self-aware, but again, you can't make your entire show a joke and then also expect me to take it seriously. So then Charlie announces on live television to all of hell that yes, redemption works, and no, she has no proof. Vaggie could easily and should have stopped Charlie, but she didn't, so plot can happen. And of course, Charlie's not going to be called out for this. She cares so much. She's just a little cute and silly. It's not like people's lives and futures are on the line. Nothing important. Oh, okay, so I guess Vox didn't broadcast it live because she has no evidence? I don't know, it seems like they could have used this to discredit her further? Whatever. Out of all the stupid decisions this show makes, I don't feel like harping about this any further. Oh my gosh! Charlie! As they're leaving, Charlie begs them to stay and they can film a redemption. She says, "We'll redeem someone," as if she has any control over the matter or even knows what's going on. Oh my gosh. This is going to be a storytelling disaster, and I, for one, can't wait. Baxter's poking at some bugs, you know, science stuff. Why do I feel like Baxter's character is going to be pointless in this season? I feel like story-wise, he should be the character Charlie picks to force redeemed, partly because we know less about him. Obviously it fails, but then he gets to do vague science-y stuff. That's why he's here, to study redemption. But I suspect she's going to randomly pick Angel because that's her favorite, and who cares about Pentious? I mean, Baxter. Cherry threatens to throw up. Me too. Cherry threatens to blow up Baxter's office unless he exposits his and Pentious's backstory, so they both used to work for Voxtech in the hopes of becoming overlords. Baxter and his creations were clearly superior, of course. This is also the origin of the original Egg Minions. Pentious rescued them from Baxter's violent and cruel experiments and left to focus on fighting Cherry. It's almost like he was like this before coming to the hotel and Charlie didn't actually make that much of a difference. It's raining in heaven. Pentious sounds like he's gearing up for a song.
Stop that. You're not going into a song while I'm here.
He misses his friends, specifically Cherry. He misses the petty slights and messy fights. He's in heaven, singing about wanting to be in hell. I don't even know what to say anymore. He misses the wounds and brushes with death. This show, man. Another dollar in the Charlie's Wrong It Again jar. I kind of like this song, though. I don't ship Pentious and Cherry. I don't really ship anyone at all, ever. But this is a cute song. And I like that Pentious's and Cherry's sections really reflect them and their vibe and also go so well together. Cherry does say another exciting Sin City night, which again, making hell look fun and heaven look boring. You can't have your cake, or people, and eat them too. The animation during this sequence is nice. Also, beautifully singing Beating the Piss Out of You did get a genuine laugh out of me. It's kind of like if this were the dumbest joke in the show, it would probably be okay, but instead it's one of the better ones. Cut to Charlie, about to ruin what's left of this episode. She's sitting on the floor with Vox and Velvet, crying about a koala because she cares so much. What if, crazy idea, I know, but what if you actually showed her caring about people? You know, the people in her hotel that she supposedly cares about, instead of just crying all the time about stupid things. It's fine to be an emotional person, but she's using her emotions to manipulate the audience and her friends. But it's not working with the Voxtech guys because they're villains. Actually, they're the villains specifically because they're not instantly under Charlie's charm.
I use that term loosely.
Okay, Vaggie pulls Charlie aside, presumably to tell her to stop. Okay, well first, Vaggie excuses herself from not stopping Charlie earlier because she didn't think she was going to be talking to Vox himself, just a random reporter. I don't know why you'd think that. That's not what Charlie said. And also, you should be concerned regardless. It's Charlie. Angel runs over, freaking out because Vox and Velvet work with Val, his ABUSIVE boss, and he knows just how messed up the V's are. All right, let's just wait for Charlie to completely ignore him. Charlie, he is clearly in distress. You know, Charlie is worse than Val, honestly. With Val, you expect it, but Charlie is supposed to be his friend and supposed to be the sensitive, nice one. Charlie is a horrible person and a horrible friend. All right, let's see just how much she ignores Angel. Wow, yep, she chooses Angel for her little experiment. It's such a burden being right about everything. Man, and Pentious thought Baxter's experiments were cruel and violent. Okay, everyone's telling her no. I know they're gonna give in. I know how this works. She says Angel's the closest one to getting redeemed, but how would you know that if you don't know anything about redemption? Oh my gosh, she says, now that we know how it works, we have an easy step-by-step guide to follow. No, you don't! You don't know anything about anything. She doesn't know anything about redemption. I don't think she even knows what a step-by-step guide is. She's just repeating mouth sounds she's heard other people make and hoping she's saying something that makes sense. I guess that makes her qualified to be a politician. It's the only job she's perhaps overqualified for.
I'm only an elected official here. I can't make decisions by myself.
Wow, and Angel is so uncomfortable. How is anyone a fan of Charlie after this episode? Oh my gosh, this is horrifying. She is so toxic. Husk, arguably the least stupid out of all the main characters, says that Charlie has a point. Husk, I expected better of you. Character-wise, plot-wise, what is this supposed to mean? I know he's a gambler, but this is really the only time he's ever gambled. The whole gambling thing is really just an aesthetic rather than a character trait, just like everything else in this show. But why is he even gambling here? He seems to be trying to encourage Angel, which makes sense, but the way he's doing it is completely out of what little character he has. So now, on top of all the other problems with redemption and Charlie's lack of understanding of it, now it's all supposed to happen under a time crunch on live TV, with the added pressure of just Charlie being Charlie. And Husk says, worst case, you're stuck down here? No? Not like any of this will matter, obviously, but more realistically, you will destroy what little credibility Charlie and the hotel have left. You will discourage people from coming, discourage those already here, and worst case, you may have embarrassed, humiliated, and discouraged Angel so much he's not even interested in getting redeemed anymore. And hopefully, for his sake, he'll finally have the balls to cut Charlie out of his life. But then she makes puppy eyes and he gives in. When just a minute ago, he wasn't just being silly or playing hard to get about not wanting to try to be redeemed on live TV. He sounded genuinely in distress. That means nothing to Charlie, or anyone else it seems. It is in character, however, that Angel has no self-respect and just goes along with it. Man, poor guy. Gosh, this show has no self-awareness. Like, you didn't have to write it like this. You didn't have to animate it like this. It's crazy. Well, Angel seems thrilled as Charlie's kindergarten redemption song and presentation starts. Me too, buddy. Me too. Step 1 is to get it done. Make redemption your resolution. You've said so much and yet so little. Step 2, stop drinking. Why do you have a bar in your rehab center then? Run by an alcoholic. Step 3, dress modestly. Now that raises so many questions for me. Step 4, feed the poor and do random Girl Scout badge good deeds. Obviously it's not working. Vox is laughing. Poor Angel is looking more and more run down. Oh, well. Now, out of desperation and stupidity, she's dressing Angel like Pentious and telling Angel to act like him. I am unfortunately right yet again.
This is my gift. My curse.
I'm not actually that good at predicting what's going to happen. It's just this show is so simple. It's kind of easy to predict what's going on. Well, I was just about to say how come no one has thought of self-sacrifice, but at the end of this descent into madness, she kind of figures it out at the end of the song, but still in a very concrete and damaging way. And Angel says he hates her while dressed in a tail, snake hood, and top hat like Pentious. Good gosh, Charlie. I'm just so curious about the thought process that went into this episode. This whole show, really. But specifically this episode.
There is nothing about this I understand.
Now Husk regrets saying something. Oh, sweetie. If only you and this show had been written better. So now, just so we're clear about how insane Charlie is, she has tied Husk to some train tracks. There is a train headed towards him with what appears to be an angelic weapon on the front. So his life actually is in danger. Otherwise, what's the point? And Charlie's laughing maniacally while dressed like a villain from an old cartoon and twirling her fake mustache. Not to signify her acceptance of her own villainy, but just to be thematically cute and silly.
Is this all there is? Just some kind of horrific joke without a punchline?
Velvet says she's pretty sure one of Val's adult films opened just like this, which isn't important to the story, but I'm so pissed off at Charlie and this show right now. This line made me chuckle. Charlie does have a kill switch in case things go wrong, which makes the scene meaningless because Husk isn't in any real danger now. This is a terrible idea, obviously, but by removing the danger, she's possibly further sabotaging Angel's attempt at redemption. I don't know, you've fallen this far, might as well let all the crazy out. What's even the point if you're gonna have a safety net? I guess as long as Angel doesn't know? Charlie gets annoyed that Angel is uncomfortable rescuing Husk in character and says he needs to address her as Danny Doobad, who doesn't listen to her friends. That's just you! Every day, all the time! This episode is like the worst fever dream I've ever had, and it's not even interesting. It's so bad, it doesn't even feel real! Angel gets upset and leaves.
I wish that were me!
Wow, it's almost like you shouldn't have put him through all this. And then, conveniently, Vox sabotages Charlie's safeguard, so now Husk actually is in real danger, while still keeping Charlie's hands relatively clean. And yet there is still the consequences of her actions. Now, the show's not going to get into that. Nifty, the conductor, obviously doesn't stop the train. Why would you make Nifty the conductor? Also, isn't she really bad on live TV? And Husk is tied real good to the tracks. Wouldn't it be nice if the show just ended here? I don't even need closure. I just need this to be over. I wish that were me on the tracks. Upon finding out that the threat is real, Angel immediately tries to save Husk, and when he's unable to save him in time, tries to shield him from the oncoming train before Vaggie steps in and saves them both. Yeah, so where was she this whole time? Why'd she let this happen? But here's the thing. Angel not getting redeemed here does kind of raise some questions. Sure, he didn't die, but he was willing to. Has that act redeemed him? And if he was killed with an angelic weapon or something at some point in the future, would he just be redeemed? This show didn't have to focus on redemption and morality, and yet, here we are. Speaking of doing a bang-up job, Vaggie asks Charlie what the F happened. Angel is pretty annoyed with Charlie. Let's see how this plays out. Okay, Charlie does actually apologize, but I would like to point out that apologies are meaningless if not followed by a change in behavior, but it also tracks that Charlie doesn't understand that. It starts with sorry, yes, but it certainly doesn't end there. Angel just angrily says it's fine, and he knows Charlie didn't mean anything by it. Gotta say, now Angel's not being a good friend. Charlie's gonna keep treating him and other people this way if he's not honest with her. But it doesn't matter. Charlie was absolutely unhinged in this episode. But instead, we're gonna fabricate some weird drama between Husk and Angel. There is no focus on anything important in this show. There could be real stakes, real drama, but instead now Husk is angrily storming off, and the audience is like, oh no, my ship! Oh, and all of this was in front of 2 of the V's. Vaggie tells her this is getting out of hand, and I'm sorry. Getting? This was out of hand before it started. She says Angel isn't Penchus. Then Charlie has the brilliant idea that Penchus redeemed his own sin. I think it's fair that she could know his backstory, what with all the weepy therapy they've done together. Possibly. It's not like she listens, though. That's something I can overlook. But how did Penchus redeem his specific sin? He didn't turn in a serial killer because he was a wealthy, powerful client, so dying to save the girl he had a crush on redeems him? Heh? Saving one woman on whom he was crushing made up for the lives of the 5 women that kinda sort of got murdered indirectly because of him? Also, if Penchus is indirectly responsible for those murders, how is Charlie not directly responsible for everything she's done, specifically in this episode? Well, let's see how this plays out with Angel. He says no and reminds Charlie's about boundaries, whatever they think that means. Seems like you should have brought this up before, but whatever. Doesn't matter regardless because, surprise, surprise, she ignores him again. And then Vox reveals that Angel killed his own dad, but okay, it's not that it's not a big deal, but in the context of the show, who cares? Why would Charlie care? Alistair, a serial killer cannibal, I will remind you, is the host of the hotel or something, and she teamed up willingly with the inhabitants of Cannibal Town. So why is this anything? I'm pretty sure this doesn't come up in the rest of the season either, and it certainly doesn't matter in this story. Then Charlie gets angry, like demon form angry, and tells Vox to back off. I guess if you don't have any straws left to grasp at, you just get angry and lash out. Vox asks how you can redeem the sin of murder, but here are my questions. Is that even the reason Angel's down here, not the substance abuse or adult activity work? Charlie has said those things gotta go if you're to be redeemed, and we certainly don't see them in heaven. And we do see a lot of it in hell. And also, if Penchus' sin led to the 5 murders and he got redeemed, why does this matter? Unless his sin was cowardice and his bravery redeemed him? I guess that makes more sense, but still. And also, we don't even know why Angel killed his dad. What if it was self-defense? That could complicate things. Well, Charlie's just gone full demon girl boss mode and says they can make fun of her, say whatever they want about her, but don't push her friends around. Yeah, because you want to be the one to do all that, right, Charlie? But this is so disingenuous. We're only in this predicament because of her ego. and because of her pushing her friends around. She can't stand when anyone says anything negative about her, no matter how true it is. Seriously, what is happening? Before leaving, Vox leans in and asks if he could ever be redeemed, and she says yes. I do kind of doubt that she actually believes that, but okay. This should be a powerful moment, but also it's not going to mean anything to the story because it's not about anyone can be redeemed or Charlie believes in everyone, because there's no consistency in the morality or standards, and they would never redeem Vox anyways because he mean to Charlie, make Charlie sad. Doesn't matter that Charlie's mean to Angel and made him sad and uncomfortable. Velvet says mockingly that it seems not everyone is welcome at the Hazbin Hotel. But I mean, she's not wrong. Yes, you can't have people there who are hostile and don't intend to change, but Charlie welcomed them into the hotel to massage her own ego and only kicked them out when they made her angry. Charlie's hopefulness and kindness getting to someone like Vox and making him want to come to the hotel would be really interesting, but Charlie doesn't believe that you should respect others regardless of how they treat you. She believes that it's justified to lash out at someone if they make her angry. Charlie apologizes to Angel again, and heck yeah, Angel says that sorry starts to lose its meaning after a while, which is correct. Finally, someone said it. Oh my gosh, is this show going to somewhat hold Charlie accountable? I will take everything I said back. Well, most things. Wait, what? Now he's being self-deprecating. I was about to admit I'd been wrong, but what is this? Wait, he's just mad about her finding out he's a murderer? Oh, this is just weird. I mean, I guess how else was the show going to handle this scene when Charlie can't ever be wrong ever, but now we're just getting weird. Vox and Velvet laugh themselves silly as they go over the different ways they'll be able to slander the Hazbin Hotel on social media. Charlie tries to call her mom again, and we see a commercial for the hit piece Vox is going to do on Charlie and the hotel, which is crazy. They didn't need to make stuff up or even do any deceptive editing. They could have just shown the unedited footage. Honestly, it's worse than anything in this trailer. A bunch of people leave the hotel because they're unimportant, and Cherry checks in because she's one of the favored. Episode 4 begins with, surprise, surprise, Charlie obsessing over what Vox texts saying about her hotel. You know, instead of checking in on the residents, specifically Angel, who she really hurt yesterday, Husk, who left, and Cherry, who just checked in, and Baxter, who, wait, hold on. He's only here to study redemption. Where was he in the last episode? What is the point of his character? He's not only done nothing, but he was completely absent in the one episode that made perfect sense for him to be there. I mean, I'm not surprised. Actually, okay, let's talk about episode 3 again for a second. Okay, so first of all, it was stupid not to have Baxter there, at least in the background taking notes. This is the only reason he's here. But also, why wasn't Angel redeemed? Because even if Penchus was redeemed by his act of bravery countering his act of cowardice, how are you supposed to redeem a murder, the taking of a life, by creating a life? Is Angel supposed to have a kid? Or instead of taking a life, is he supposed to save one, like Husk, who was actually in real danger, who he jumped in front of to save? I know Angel can't be redeemed because Vivzy cares more about her favorite characters being together than a good story, but think of the possibilities if he had been redeemed here. And no, Penchus is not one of the favored ones. I mean, just look at how he was treated in season 1. Even season 2, let's be real. And he wants to be in hell anyways. Alright, enough of that. Back to episode 4. Charlie thinks that if she's interviewed on live TV, they won't be able to take her out of context. Oh, honey. I like that Charlie's upset that they lied about her hitting Velvet to make her look bad, when we all saw episode 3. No lying necessary. Faggy says there's no point and she should just stay home with her, oh, and the guests, admitting that they truly are an afterthought in all this. Charlie, of course, doesn't listen, and speaking of bad ideas, she takes Nifty with her? To do what? Freeze up on TV again? Stab some bugs on live TV? What's the reasoning here? I don't know why I even bother questioning any of this. Alistair has his shirt open, revealing some kind of magical wound, I guess. I also guess this was from his fight with Adam during the climax of last season? Alistair and Lucifer get into a weird spat over nothing, even more pointless than their rivalry in season 1. This seems purely for spectacle than anything else. Still pisses me off that Alistair has such a short temper. I mean, what a loser. Who Who cares what this pathetic little circus twink thinks about you? Seriously, who cares? And more importantly, why does the story care? It's kind of like, don't forget these characters are here, which is why I'm assuming Angel and Cherry are cuddling up on the couch together. They don't have anything else to do. Okay, the 666 News calls Charlie a Nepo baby, which she is. And as expected, Charlie is woefully unprepared.
Dad needs media coaching. Interview's over. Get that camera out of my face.
But she does take the time to tell us she's bi. Again, who cares? How is that important to the story?
Whoa, he's bisexual. I didn't know that.
By the way, I'm bisexual.
Alistair goes to see Rosie in Cannibal Town, which, aside from the whole eating people thing, is actually a really nice place. So, how would you redeem the cannibals in this universe? Do they have to regurgitate their dinner, Mama Bird style, sew it back together, bring it back to life? I mean, they did already risk their lives defending hell from the super mean angels in season 1, so why isn't everyone in that battle redeemed? I guess they didn't do it for selfless reasons, they wanted to eat the angels. But why would Vaggie want anyone to be redeemed? Even Charlie talks about how much the angels suck. Gosh, this show is so dumb! Rosie doesn't like that Alistair wants to leave the hotel because it gets in the way of their plans. He apparently made some kind of deal with Rosie to be the most powerful sinner, but he still can't go toe-to-toe with an archangel like Adam, hence the wound. I thought season 1 made a big deal about Alistair having a deal with another overlord. Also, I thought we already knew it was Rosie, and I do not consume any Hazbin material outside of the show. But anyways, how does Rosie have the power to do that?
I just wanted you to know that you can't just say the word and expect anything to happen. I didn't say it, I declared it. Still, it's not anything.
What does that mean? Alistair's short temper flares up again, and then we get his backstory, which again, I am interested in seeing, but if it's not relevant to the story, don't waste time on it.
I just asked if you were cold. I didn't ask for your whole life story.
He charmed his way into hosting his own radio show in the 30s. We see a cameo of that annoying blonde girl from season 1. Oh, what's her name? I guess I'll look it up. Who is Alistair's blonde friend from season 1? Mimsy. It was Mimsy. She gets another cameo here. Despite his fame and acclaim, Alistair was a bit naughty, Rosie's words, because by naughty, I mean he killed this guy, presumably ate too, that's his thing, and had a lot of fun doing it too, all for splashing a little wine on him, which is beyond petty. Then, even naughtier, he spent a lot of time trying to contact demons in hell to make a deal, because he knows what he deserves, but he wants to continue his fun by securing a place for himself amongst the most powerful demons in hell. So, evil, has fun being evil, wants to keep enjoying evil in hell, and Charlie works with this guy. Rosie says she can make him the most powerful sinner in hell, as long as he does something for her. And in a show for adults, he, an adult, asks no further questions and agrees. At least when Gideon did this with Bill in Gravity Falls, Gideon's what, 10? And it's a show for kids. And the deal's broken anyway, so the favor Bill needed from Gideon didn't really end up mattering anyways. We knew what he wanted. Rosie could have at least worded it like, "You'll owe me a favor." I still think you should try to ask questions, but that does seem like it's supposed to be a more open-ended request. Then Alistair dies the very next day after being mistaken for a deer in the forest, as he's dragging away yet another victim. To the kitchen, I assume. Oh goody, another song. It's not a banger or anything, but the songs are so much better this season. And we find out that Rosie is the reason Alistair mysteriously went off the air in regards to his radio show in hell, but we don't know why. After Rosie sings for a few minutes about how she's completely in control of Alistair, he can't even blow his nose without her pulling the strings, he angrily laments his situation, then he revels in his own cleverness because he has an idea. Ghost, there you are. Did you find out what that weird blip was on the radar?
Nothing yet, although it could be interference from the Screaming Nebula, which you should have an excellent view of right about now.
Oh, that is lovely and rather loud. Let's see if we can shut that out a bit so I can continue. Ah, thank you. All right, where were we? Right, good gosh, Charlie. Okay, she's so frustrated that no one will believe her with no evidence. Charlie, the burden of proof is on you. I know that everyone else is a meanie and you're perfect every day, all the time, But they are not wrong. You are. It's actually really condescending to expect people to just go along with her like this. Then she says she's sure heaven will help them now that Penchas has been redeemed, when the info she has from Emily is that Penchas has been redeemed, but that heaven is also going into lockdown. She's just making stuff up now.
Why you always lying?
She is ruining her own credibility. But are we gonna deal with this? No. Oh my gosh, Nifty runs by stabbing at some bugs. Not important to the story, just funny that I said, what's she gonna do on TV? Stab bugs? And here we are, just in case you forgot her one thing. Killjoy points out that Vox said she made baseless claims, which is true, and that she puts her guests in danger for fun, which is also true? Well, more because she's arrogant, but let's see how she gets herself out of this one. She straight up doesn't address it, she just says that he took her out of context. Out of context? What? Was all of episode 3, this entire show, made by Vox? You have to take her out of context to make her look good. Then she pulls a Coolsville sucks.
Hey, you're doing that thing again where you take everything I say out of context. You're trying to make it look like I think Coolsville sucks. No, don't record that.
And then says, they're trying to make it look like I think sinners deserve the extermination because they're bad people. I mean, we already knew she was stupid. And Killjoy immediately blasts her for it. Charlie, of course, can't figure out how to respond.
So you don't know how to make paella?
No, I could make...
Okay, I'm confused because a minute ago you were an expert.
So she puts Nifty on screen, who obviously immediately blanks. But when Charlie tells her the camera is a roach, Nifty comes alive and sings a disgusting but kind of funny song about the various filth and bodily fluids around the hotel. I mean, that's probably going to get people to come around better than anything Charlie's done. That's what people are used to. Meanwhile, Charlie wants them to change and stuff and then leave. Speaking of Charlie wanting people to change, she's freaking out about the stuff Nifty is revealing about the hotel and wants Nifty to help differently. Charlie, this is on you. Your hotel sucks and even you should have known better than to bring Nifty on. Wow, this is getting old. Alistair begins to enact his very clever plan and taunts Vox and gets him and the V's to fight him. Suddenly, Alistair is calm and collected again, as if he wasn't embarrassingly short-tempered just a few minutes ago. The animation for the fight is fun to watch, but it's a very loose magic system which makes the stakes extremely unclear in a show for adults. There's no tension when the only way someone wins is because the story wants them to, so nothing anyone does ever matters. You don't need to wonder how the fight's going to be fought or won because the powers don't have any structure to them. I guess I do know that Alistair is the most powerful, so he's doing this on purpose? I mean, parts of it are visually pleasant to watch, but it's still kind of meaningless. Okay, it's kind of funny when Velvet asks her chat if she should obliterate Alistair, yes or no, like an emperor in a coliseum, thumbs up or thumbs down. Charlie and Killjoy yell at each other, and for some reason Nifty runs off to help Alistair after seeing the action on TV. Oh, Husk is back, and Angel's perfectly fine this episode after everything that happened to him in the last episode. I guess ABUSC is normal to him. Even Charlie finding out he was a murderer meant nothing, just like I said it would. What the story doesn't seem to realize is that actions, story beats, they all have consequences. And obviously you won't be able to get into every single one, but to ignore every single one is a bit much. Nifty sprints in and takes Husk to the scene to help Alistair. Weird, but whatever. Again, the sequence is fun to watch, but doesn't mean anything more than that. Then Alistair says, it's growing really tiresome, quite boring really, but he's talking about their little back and forth and not the show as a whole, and makes a deal with Vox that he'll go with them and be their prisoner if Vox lets Husk and Nifty go and also doesn't lay a hand
or a hook
on Charlie Morningstar. And because everyone in this show is stupid, Vox immediately agrees. No questions asked. Again. Like, come on, Vox. You think Alistair cares about Husk and Nifty? You think he's not trying to pull one over on you? I mean, really? Alistair's brought into the studio and Charlie is pushed out. She tries to appeal to her own authority and position as the Princess of Hell, and that's why they should let her back in, but whoopsie, looks like nobody cares. And why would they? See, this is another example of aesthetic over meaning. It means nothing that Charlie is the Princess of Hell. There's nothing about it that affects her character or the story, except for being a nepo baby and appealing to her royal status when she wants even more special treatment. being the Princess of Hell is nothing more than a costume. And speaking of her parentage, I've seen people trying to excuse her ego, meaning they do recognize it, by saying she's the child of pride. Like, for some story reason, she's just supposed to be like this, prideful. Okay, but that doesn't change that her actions are always excused by the story. Anyways, Vox throws himself a parade and does interviews. He reveals that Alistair doesn't have a tail. I'm guessing that this is some weird fandom headcanon thing that people have always wanted to know. Killjoy says that's gonna piss some people off, which is kind of a funny joke if the fandom wasn't so, well, you know, the way that it is. Anyways, they make a day of it. Well, Vox does, and watches his ratings go up. Vox tries to get some information out of Alistair and also tries to rile him up, which should work, but doesn't because the story needs him to stay calm this time. And instead, Alistair very obviously tries to further drive a wedge between all the V's. Alistair exposits a little bit of Vox's backstory, or at least when he's in hell, and it doesn't change how poorly Alistair has been written up to this point, but telling Vox that he used to respect him, that is a great moment. It shows Alistair is actually being cunning, clever, and manipulative, and shows what's important to Vox. More of this would have made the show better. Still a stupid idea, but better execution at least. Then we get a flashback where we see young Vox complimenting Alistair, someone he clearly looks up to, saying they should work together. And Alistair laughs hysterically, telling him he's weak and pathetic. Me to every character in this show. Then Alistair says, "There's no friends in hell." Gasp! Don't let Charlie hear you speak such blasphemy. And poor Vox looks devastated. I mean, this is kind of a weird scene though, because as interesting as it is to see younger demon Vox, this kind of raises more questions. What made Vox trust Alistair? Why did Alistair give Vox the time of day? I guess it's supposed to give Vox a consistent backstory and reason for hating Alistair, but even in theory, it's pretty weak. Vox seems irritated, but sings that he's totally okay because he's got a plan. He says it's crazy that Alistair thinks he cares, except that people who always make a big deal about pointing out that they don't care generally do care. I mean, really, really care, which might have been the point, but who knows. I do know Alistair is supposed to be impressive, strong, and mysterious, but instead, he's a weak, pathetic loser.
Loser! Too far!
Ghost, how's that radar looking?
It appears to be a ship.
Really? It's not often you see someone out in this neck of the universe. And it is the Galaxy of Terror, so I don't know if we should be impressed or concerned.
They're getting closer.
Well, I hope they're not fans of Hazbin Hotel, or they're gonna be really upset if they pick up this transmission. Episode 5. Killjoy summarizes the end of the last episode we just watched, then we immediately start a song. We see a lot of the other overlords. I really hate this one, and I don't have a good reason why, I really don't like her design. She's uncomfortable to look at. The other overlords are surprised that Alistair's been taken out, specifically by Vox, who is apparently stronger than they gave him credit for. And they want to see what the V's are going to do next. I personally find this song annoying, but that has nothing to do with quality. The exposition isn't great in this song. Also, why aren't they threatened or angry or something? This seems like a weird response in hell, where everyone is out for themselves. It is interesting that we get to see all the different overlords and their themed areas, except for this one. And to match each overlord's vibe, Vox code switches like a politician during an election year. I don't know, why didn't Charlie try to work with the overlords to improve hell? They seem to have a lot of influence and some of these areas are fine, like Cannibal Town. Then everyone could stay down here, having fun, their words, and also not be living in a giant crap hole, assuming that's important to them. To be honest, it seems like it's not. It seems like it's only important to Charlie. Okay, it was very funny when Vox started to do some kind of Spanish dance when he got to Carmilla, because I was like, wow, are they really gonna do this? And no, they aren't, because for some reason it would be offensive, I guess. Shouldn't be, but because the worst people you know, as in fans of this show, because they would be offended by it, at least we got this joke. It's really weird to see all the evil overlords singing and working together. Yeah, real evil. Real threatening. This show makes a mockery of evil, and everything really. At the hotel, Charlie is yet again neglecting everything except her current hyperfixation and trying desperately to get Emily's attention so they can talk again. Instead of being disgusted or concerned, Maggie just thinks it's cute. Then Charlie says, This would be easier with Alistair. What? What did he do? Ever? Then Vaggie asks if she can help Charlie with anything. Is everyone in this show stupid? Vaggie is already doing everything in Charlie's hotel. Oh my gosh, Charlie goes back to trying to contact Emily in the same stupid way. Why don't they just find a convenient, vaguely smart person to try to figure out a way to contact heaven? You know, with some non-specific and meaningless science. I know Pentious is in heaven, but you have Baxter now. He's done nothing since checking in. Did the writers just forget about him? Vaggie does hotel stuff, takes care of the guests, and oh, there's Baxter. Oh, he does exist. Well, at least the animators didn't forget about him. Apparently, Husk is a therapist? He's probably more qualified than Charlie. You know, he's probably more qualified than most therapists. None of them know what they're doing either. Oh, Baxter has lines. Maybe ask him if he can find a way to contact heaven. Finding out if Pentious was redeemed or not is extremely relevant to his research, so he has motivation. Apparently, therapist Husk is finding creative ways to tell people they're stupid. Okay, maybe he's the perfect guy for this job. Oh, then we get a cutaway to see Husk in action. Yeah, you should have left this to the imagination. I take my compliments back. Husk isn't creatively insulting people. I think the writers just discovered what a thesaurus is. Vaggie goes to see Lucifer, who comes to the door covered in ducks, claiming he's not doing anything weird.
This is normal. This is normal for gnomes. Scrub, scrub.
So he's oblivious to what's been going on, but as soon as Vaggie tells him Vox has been making things difficult, I say that's what Vaggie tells him because we all know it's Charlie making things difficult for herself and everyone else. And compared to what's actually going on, Voxtech is actually going pretty easy on her. Anyways, when Vaggie tells him this, Lucy goes all demon form like Charlie does when she's angry about something supposedly cute and justifiable. It's not like Vaggie just met this guy. She's seen him before, seen what he's about, but for some reason she still thinks it's a good idea to ask him to do something about Vox, which is insane. But also Lucy reveals to her that he can't really do anything to Vox anyway. That's his punishment. Pretty sure we found that out in the opening episode of season 1, if I remember right. Then, still thinking this is a good idea for some reason, she just says to threaten Vox. This man threatens someone. Yeah, okay. And then she gets him to agree by threatening his ego.
A family trait, I think.
Charlie's exhausted herself shooting fireworks from her fingers, and Emily watches this from heaven, but border czar Sarah says she can't talk to Charlie because hell needs to sort itself out, and it wouldn't do any good to talk to Charlie. Listen, Charlie is dumb as hell, but talking with hell to see what's going on is actually a good idea. Oh my gosh. Emily says Sarah doesn't want to talk with hell because she owes them a massive apology. What? Then Pentious, who is from hell, bursts in with the cookies he made, you know, to prove how nice everyone in hell is and how mean and bigoted everyone in heaven is for being scared of a population that, with the exception of Pentious, who is no longer even down there, sings songs about wanting to kill them and take over their realm. It makes sense in a hell bad, heaven good kind of show that we'd only get bad faith arguments. Emily and Sarah fight about Pentious being there. Emily thinks it's necessary to have a hell expert there, which, while I do think you should talk to Pentious about the state of things, you could also go down there yourselves. And when, not if, when things get dicey, just portal out of there immediately. Of course, if that happened in this show, the reaction would just be, wow, these conditions are deplorable. That's what's driving people to act this way. Rather than, wow, these people are deplorable. That's why their conditions are also deplorable. And even if hell tried to attack them, Emily and Charlie would just say it's justified because of the exterminations, which were only enacted because hell was already a threat. But anyways, Emily is right. They should ask Pentious about hell, but Sarah is also right that he shouldn't be there in a confidential meeting, at least the whole time. Emily thinks they should apologize with gift baskets. Whoopsie, now we ain't trying to kill you. Here's a gift basket. Hopefully we're square now.
The reason we have stopped by is to drop you off this elaborate bag of goodies and to ask you to reconsider the magic of the gift basket.
That I don't care about as much.
Oh my gosh. I was joking, but then Abel says they should get a plushie for the gift basket that says, sorry for the violence. And Emily, of course, thinks this is a good idea. And if this is the one time this kind of behavior is supposed to be a joke, you can't have everyone acting like this all the time or it doesn't land. This is why the Vox Tech "trust us with your information" bit isn't funny. It should be, I want to laugh at this, but the writing isn't clever and tongue-in-cheek where the joke is how direct it is. You can't do that when the writing is just always direct. Actually, now that I think of it, I don't even know if the "Trust Us" tagline is supposed to be a joke. It might just be serious. Seriously bad. Which is what Sarah thinks of the gift basket idea. Finally, a voice of reason. Oh no, not because it's a stupid idea, but because she can't see how hell can ever forgive them. Oh my gosh! Pentious says that a wise woman, he somehow means Charlie, said it starts with sorry. Yes, Charlie, it does start with sorry, but the important part is the change that follows, and we've never really gotten that far, have we? Sometimes I cannot believe this show is real. I was joking when I said, "Thawi, I tried to kill you," but the bear in the gift basket actually says Sowie with W's. Are you kidding me? Sorry, I'm getting really heated about this.
You are also on record as saying Widow Iddle, Footy Woodies, Num Nums, Jammies, Make Boom Boom, Widiculous, and Woad Iwind.
Do I sometimes replace R's with W's? Handy Sawi.
They all portal down to hell. Charlie is laying there half dead from trying the same thing 1,000 times and expecting a different result, and surprisingly doesn't care about the gift basket. She does, for once, care about someone else, Pentious. Even then, I think it could be argued that she only cares for her ego's sake, but I'll move on. It's just funny that Charlie is dismissing the stupid basket so much because that's 100% something she would come up with and think is a great idea. She finally snaps out of it and realizes that the angels are in hell, not to get a grasp of the situation, but to apologize? I'm very pro-apology, by the way, just not in this situation. Charlie asks them to tell Hell that Pentious has been redeemed. Why can't they just show Pentious? Just bring him back for a quick visit. That would solve pretty much every problem, as much as it can be solved. The sinners aren't going to believe the angels, aside from not having proof, which is very fair, but also, as liars, they're likely to suspect other people of lying. Sarah said she's sorry she can't bring Pentious, but why? I think Emily did say something about Pentious not being able to leave either. Is this portal thing just a high angel power? Also, if it is just something the higher-ups can do, then why would they need to put a barrier up and why would they need to announce it? Also, when Abel asks what a Vox is, Charlie just starts describing the size and shape of his TV head. Just say he's one of the overlords. So they're gonna head down to Vox's rally to say that redemption's real, they're not out to get the sinners, and to apologize with gift baskets. Oh, hey, positive note, they came to hell. That's actually a good decision, for once. Meanwhile, everything's coming up Vox. Val says the dancers are all 10s plus 1 8 for diversity. Glad to see DEI's alive and well in hell where it belongs. Alistair very unsneakily tries to stir up more division between the V's. I mean, it works, but not because it's clever. It's also just so boring and pathetic that everyone's so easy to manipulate and so egotistical. I mean, sure, have some characters like that, but they're all the same. And Vox is so easily manipulated and egotistical in such a surface level way. It's boring. These characters aren't stylized or exaggerated for effect. They're just cartoonish stereotypes, only possible if you've never touched grass and only interact with other already derivative media. Vox has Velvet and Val handle the backstage. No pushback there, though Val and presumably Velvet aren't happy about it. We've only seen Val so far. Then Vox makes it clear he was doing all this to show Alistair who's boss, which is dumb. But also, we get his backstory at some point, so we see that petty rivalry wasn't always his motivation. It just started with Alistair in hell. Vox goes out on stage. We know the angels are on their way, and oh my gosh, I forgot because I had to take a few days off because I still have the flu. But Lucy is also on his way because the writers wanted to cause some meaningless drama. I mean, Vaggie wanted to help Charlie out. Right on cue, Lucy shows up just as Vox said he'd take care of the angel problem. Whoever voiced Lucy clearly had fun with this song though. Good for him. But it is stupid that this is happening. Not that Vaggie had the idea to knock Vox down a peg, but having Lucifer doing it, Vaggie occasionally has some sense. Not today, it seems, because the story needed this to happen. So now Charlie's about to get there, and this is gonna mess stuff up for her because she's trying to show that the angels aren't bad or whatever. That part's not terrible, it's just how we got there that's stupid. But now Charlie's gonna have an excuse to be justifiably mad at her dad. Oh, and Vaggie too. I can't wait to see everyone apologize to Charlie again.
I have done nothing wrong, ever, in my life.
Anyways, Vox doesn't care. At all. Which is interesting, and by interesting, I mean dumb. So Alistair and Lucy hate each other and can rile each other up. Vox can be riled up by Alistair, but not Lucy in the slightest, even though Lucy is more powerful than Alistair. It's almost like this is all out of convenience and contrived drama rather than a story. And listen, yeah, you can make all sorts of excuses for the story. Alistair cares about what Lucy thinks of him because he's the only one in hell more powerful than him. Vox isn't intimidated by Lucy because he's on stage and he cares about his image in public. That's you, or in this case me, writing the story for the writers. Don't do that. This isn't nuance, this is doing the writer's job for them and excusing crap writing. If you like this show, you shouldn't, it's terrible, but if you like this show, you of all people should want it to be better. And yes, even the reveal later that tries to explain this doesn't make it make sense, but I'll get to that later. Vox sings his part and uses Lucy's arrival to say that he cares about everyone and wants to give them respite from the unreasonable angelic demands. See, Vox does need to be intimidated out of his power trip, but you have to have the right person and the right circumstances, and this was neither. He says they need to make hell great again. It's okay, he's the bad guy, he can say that. Get them all red hats. I do like that Lucy popped in at the most inopportune moment for him, and that Vox is using that to his advantage. But the reason behind this happening is dumb. What if instead, Lucy was lured here and didn't know it was a rally? I don't know, something, anything less stupid than what happened? You can keep the part where he showed up, that's great actually. Vox reveals his plan to take over heaven. Honestly, Vox in this song is pretty great. I wish this was the villain we got the entire season. Manipulative, cunning, charismatic, using his image and the circumstances to his advantage. But all we've seen is this stupid drama between the V's and Alistair. Vox needed to be introduced like this, because this is just out of character and convenient for the story rather than an actually interesting and intimidating villain. This is who we've been kind of, sort of told Vox is, but we haven't been shown that in this season until now. The first song they sang in the first episode, that's more like supporting material to something like this. If that's what he is behind the scenes and under all that bravado, sure, but it removes any tension or buildup revealing that so soon. See, and it's great to see Vox immediately scrambling to figure out how to respond when the angels show up. It's great. That is the character we should have gotten. And then when the angels apologize, it's great timing because he just got done singing his "Yeah, baby, angels suck" song. So what's he gonna do now that they're apologizing? You know it's serious, they brought gift baskets. Now, the circumstances which facilitated this scene and even the scene itself, that's all stupid, but the general idea and the timing is good. Even something that's poorly written doesn't get it all wrong, so I do want to be fair and point the good stuff out. Vox makes fun of the gift baskets because, obviously, and then turns the situation to his advantage by saying, that's what a sinner's soul is worth to heaven, a gift basket. For the most part, great Vox writing in this scene. Wait, he's doing this eye thing. Ghost, come here and explain this.
Is this sort of mind control ability based on how people let media and technology control their lives? Like how some people can't get through the day without ChatGPT babysitting them. It's a cool idea, but it was poorly introduced and too vague. I don't understand the logic of how he actually uses it or who it works on.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I was confused about. It's also kind of weird that they don't directly explain or give us a long backstory cutscene for it, given the nature of this show. Anyways, it's great, I mean sarcastically, not genuinely, that the angels are so shocked by the pictures of the extermination, as if the rest of hell isn't infinitely worse. This is so dumb. I bet if they stopped by Cannibal Town, they'd just comment on how nice it is there and then politely turn down the severed fingers Rosie's sure to offer them. Charlie gets mad at her dad, of course. He cowers like a small child caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Man, the way this show treats men.
More on that later.
Oh. Okay, so the crowd is out of control. The angels have no idea how to handle this, not because Hell is violent and wants to kill them. It's because why would they accept their apology? I mean, if an apology was necessary, yeah. Then Sarah angrily says, this is why she allowed the exterminations, because of sinners like them. Which, come on, Sarah, I had higher expectations of you. But the plot needed this to happen so Vox can declare war. Vox's behavior at least makes a decent amount of sense, even if his buildup was non-existent, but the angels being so bad at conflict resolution and diplomacy is criminal. If your plot relies on your characters acting and being stupid, I don't know, maybe your story is stupid. Doesn't mean you can't save it, but it needs a lot of work. But anyways, after hearing the sinners declare war and getting but a taste of the violence, they retreat through a portal. Penchus is on the floor playing with his new egg boys, and Emily breaks the news to him that Hell has declared war.
Unless, of course, war were declared.
What's that?
War were declared.
Back at the hotel, all the guests check out. Charlie comes in, literal flames blazing around her because she's mad. She's blaming everything on her dad, and yeah, he didn't help things, but that was all gonna happen anyway. It was just worse because of his involvement. Now Charlie's furious with Vaggie too, and what's this? Accountability? Vaggie says Charlie's not listening and being her friend means telling her the truth. Yes, that's true. 5 episodes into season 2 is kind of late, and we clearly aren't dealing with the events of episode 3 at all, but hey, better late than never. Okay, this is so unexpected. I do think we're gonna get a cop-out apology. I have good reason to expect this show not to handle this well, somehow, but this is fascinating. The episode ends with everyone being sad and alone. Charlie tries to call her mom again. Well, I can't tell you how excited I am to be done with this episode, but I'm actually really curious about how stuff is gonna play out in regards to the apology. Okay, episode...
Kill.
What?
Murder. Die. Bloodbath.
Well, I don't like any of those words. Ghost, raise the shields.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Jazz.
Why?
You were in such a hurry to get to the pet port.
Yes, to acquire my pet demon shark.
Yes, the demon shark. You were in such a hurry that we now have just enough fuel to get us to the pet port at our current pace, or to protect ourselves from these attackers.
So, what are you saying? What are our options?
Stop and get fuel, or die.
Well, I don't want to stop and get fuel, but I also don't want to die, I guess. Okay, refueling it is. Whoever you are, you'll pay for preventing me from procuring my demon shark in a timely manner. Ghost, shields up.
Yes, Captain.
Ah, that's better. Well, you try messaging them directly, see what their whole deal is. Meanwhile, I have important work to do, which I will continue to do without sounding concerned or panicked at all. Episode 6 starts out with Vox reminiscing about Lilith. Well, actually expositing about Lilith, but I thought we knew all this already. She rallied the sinners against heaven, but disappeared before war could be declared. Vox is trying to recruit Carmine to build some kind of weapon, presumably that can kill angels. She doesn't want to get involved. He says this is her fault because she armed Charlie in the first place, which led to Adam's death. And she should side with him because there's no way heaven won't come for a heavenly arms dealer. Which I guess is a fair point, but this is where Vox seems kind of pointless. He's not charming her, convincing her, he's threatening her. She only agreed because she has no other choice, which, if this was the only time this happened, sure, it would be an interesting exception. I feel like this should be the exception. It's more in character for Carmine, but instead it's just another example of something happening because the story needs it to instead of using the character's established personalities and strengths and weaknesses. I mean, Vox is there, running his mouth, voxing up the place, but not actually doing anything. Velvet is mad that Vox made her fake apologize, and the only reason I bring this up is because he says it's because she managed to F up the only Overlord meeting he sent her to on his behalf, which, unless I missed something earlier, he sent her to meet with Carmine, right? You know they hate each other. At this point, it's like the characters are making bad decisions on purpose, just for the vibe. My boy Zestiel is back to hit us with some more poorly written fanficky Old English. My truest wish is that you cometh to thine senses post haste. I'd ask if how badly this was written was supposed to be the joke, but I mean, look at the rest of the show. Basically, this scene is him telling Carmine that he shouldn't trust Vox, and her reiterating that she feels like this is the best course of action if she wishes to protect her loved ones, which is consistent with her character. It's her one thing. Then Zesty says he can't ally himself with someone working with Vox, so Zesty comes on screen just to tell us he's leaving. Alrighty then. Back at the hotel, but still not seeing what's going on with Charlie, I just want to see how everyone is going to apologize to her and how she's going to learn nothing and not change it all. I feel like the writers are holding out on me. They know this is the only thing I'm interested in.
He finally has a story we really want to hear. And he knows it.
Vaggy's running around fixing everything and taking care of everything in Charlie's hotel. Still no sign of Charlie though. The deal between Carmine Industries and Vox Tech is announced on TV, which I'm not sure how good of an idea that is. Sure, it could raise morale to see Vox partnering with another powerful overlord, especially one that not so secretly deals in angelic weapons, but should they be broadcasting that? I know the angels, well, some of them, can portal directly into hell, but why haven't they asked Penchus, or a winner who's a scientist, to access hell's news or something? Obviously it would be biased, but it would still be useful information. Why hasn't someone bugged hell or heaven at this point? Where's Baxter when you need him? By which I mean someone to do vague, meaningless science. The weather forecast for hell is scream rain, which is kind of funny, but also the only environmental torture we've seen in hell so far. And honestly, not even that bad. Just stay inside or wear headphones. My point is, hell and its sucking has been because of how much the sinners themselves suck. They, their values, and their behavior are what's making hell so terrible for themselves and others. It's the same reason they're in hell. It's the only thing in this show that makes sense, and yet, I don't think the show's aware of that. Charlie's at the bar now, and she and Vaggy have the conflict resolution skills of 8-year-olds. Maybe. They're talking in front of each other, but addressing Husk.
The words that they say sound passive, but seem aggressive. I feel like there should be a term for that, like nicey-meanie.
Wow, it's almost like you're both terrible and terribly immature people who shouldn't be in charge of helping other people learn very basic things like apologizing, conflict resolution, responsibility. Then Husk says he's so done with this petty high school BS. Then he just leaves.
I wish that were me.
Charlie freaks out and says the bar needs him. Actually, no, Charlie. Your rehab facility with alcoholics does not, in fact, need a bar. But Husk says that with Alistair gone, he's gone. I was wondering about that. And if he was just there because of Alistair, why would you put him in charge of therapy and teaching other sinners how to be redeemed? He's not redeemed. Does he even show any interest in redemption? He's there because he's forced to be. You know, that does pose a problem employee-wise. Anyone qualified for these positions, by nature of those qualifications, can't be here. That's why I'm saying you need some kind of halfway house or a hotel. Work with heaven to sort something out. Charlie and Vaggy fight some more, then Charlie hears Vox on TV saying that they're pursuing Lilith's dream. And Charlie says her mom never wanted violence. She was into empowerments and peaceful protests. Charlie's demon form comes out again, then she and Vaggy, still mad at each other, decide to pay Carmine a visit. Wow, I wonder if they're gonna handle this in a mature way. They put Nifty in charge of the hotel for some reason, and she tells her bug army to rise. And Baxter's in the background, so I assume he'll be a part of whatever Nifty's pointless subplot is. I guess he is a bioengineer, but will waste his vague science on this instead of anything actually useful. You know what, he's probably just in the background so we don't forget about him. He's not gonna be in this episode at all. Husk goes into the casino.
Of course, the ultimate evil in the world, gambling.
Which I think explains a lot about these characters. Husk's character design gives him the surface level veneer, the aesthetic of gambling. But when has Husk been a gambler?
Welcome to the casino. I want big slots, big numbers, big numbers, big numbers.
He's not a risk taker, and even though you could argue that he's risk averse now because he's leaving his gambling ways behind, I think the show has shown us not just that it puts a distinct lack of care and thought into things, but also an emphasis on aesthetic over meaning. I talked about this much more in my first video, and I think a little earlier in this video, when I complained about how meaningless it is to have all these immortal characters, because there's no exploration into their changed perspective or how much they've leaned into their vices because of their immortality. It's just a vibe. It doesn't matter beyond the surface level aesthetic. And the aesthetic of the casino is fun, however, even though this is supposed to be a bad place, I assume, for Husk to be. Then he starts singing. This seems like a season 1 problem. Why do we need a whole song about this? Why do we need to spend any time so late in the season on this? It's kind of weird. I know Husk had that weird moment in episode 3 where he got mad and left, but also Charlie was a complete freak in episode 3 and we never addressed that, so what's that about? Then he sings about his drinking problem. Charlie, maybe you shouldn't have a bar in your rehab run by an alcoholic. Oh great, now we're back to Vaggie and Charlie, who are not keeping their fight to themselves. Carmine says what we're all thinking, that she doesn't have time for all this lesbian drama. Listen, it's not self-awareness when you still make us take the time for this pointless drama. There are a lot of season 1 problems in this episode. Melodrama, restating what we already know, pointless boring songs, wasting precious screen time. Then Carmine asks why they should think heaven is the answer when we know what they're capable of, with some flashbacks of what they're capable of. And yeah, okay, we're asking a good question, but the answer is even more bizarre, but consistent with what Charlie said in episode 1. She says we must never let ourselves become them. I'm sorry, what? The answer to why heaven is the answer is because we must not become them? But you do want to become them. That's literally the point of your stupid hotel.
That just raises further questions.
Back to Husk's storyline. He's excited to hear some broad sing a song, only to find out it's Angel in drag. And wow, is his voice very unpleasant with this style of music. It worked really well with Poison, but it sounds terrible with this song. I really tried to not be aware of anything Vivzy Pop related outside of the time I've chosen to waste watching this show, but I'm pretty sure these characters are supposed to be a ship. I mean, 2 characters can exist near each other and people will ship them. However, my headcanon is that Husk is just horrified and embarrassed to see his friend debasing himself like this. And intent doesn't matter, remember? Only my experience as the viewer, informed by my life experience, which can't be questioned by the way, only that matters. Death of the author, baby. I honestly don't hate this song, but I do hate hearing it sung by Angel. I gotta find if there's a good cover of it. Again though, seems like wasted space. Unless you just want to weirdly ship these characters. So far, I think about 10 minutes of this episode was unnecessary, and I'm only halfway through. Val is working, so I'm sure you can figure out what that means. Vox asks to borrow Angel Dust. I don't think I mentioned that Vox and Val are sleeping together, I guess. It's gross. Imagine being the animator and having to take the time to draw a demon's pierced nerps. I mean, how embarrassing. I guess everyone has low points in their career. Velvet and Alistair are here now. The other V's are still upset with Vox taking center stage, literally. Vox tries his freaky eye stuff on Val, all because Alistair got under his skin. Wow, I wonder what he wants Angel for. It's fine in concept. It's the execution that's terrible, mostly because of how juvenile it is.
I apologize for interrupting your evening situation comedies and sophomoric cartoon shows.
Vaggie gets back to the hotel and it's in great condition. That's sarcasm, by the way. Come on, you put Nifty in charge. This is my fault for expecting more from Vaggie, just like it's Vaggie's fault for expecting too much from Nifty, who has spent her afternoon making jazz bugs with Baxter. You know, I take everything I said back. This was an excellent use of time. Best part of the show, besides the shark part. Oh, finally! Okay, here's what I'm interested in. Vaggie finds Charlie in a blanket fort, of course. Listen, I love blanket forts. Any kind of fort, really. I'm not here to knock recreational indoor architecture. I'm just saying it's on brand for Charlie. Okay. Charlie says she thought about what Vaggie said about her hyperfixating on what others were saying about her, and Vaggie was right.
So far, so good.
Charlie doesn't apologize, though, interestingly. I thought it started and ended with sorry. What does happen is Charlie spends a lot of time justifying why she feels that way, and Vaggie telling her it's okay. Now, I think getting to the root of the problem, understanding why you feel and acted the way you did, can be very helpful in learning about your strengths and weaknesses and how to grow as a person. That's not what's happening here. This is Charlie trying to get sympathy from both her girlfriend and the audience and making excuses. Then they sing a really boring song, bang, and then their problems are all solved. Vaggy's and the story's attempt at holding Charlie accountable is as empty as Charlie's apologies. Also, season 1 Charlie was against premarital sex, just to throw that out there. Back at the casino, Husk tells Angel he left the hotel. He, instead of Charlie, I'm seeing a theme here, also apologizes to Angel for pushing him to speedrun redemption. I swear the characters are dumber in this season because Vaggy and Husk have been surprising me with how stupid their decisions are, and I wasn't expecting much. Angel says he's accepted that redemption really isn't for people like him. I wonder if this discouragement is perhaps a direct result of Charlie's insane actions in episode 3. So when Angel asks Husk if he's still mad he saved his life, even though it was actually Vaggy who saved both of them, Angel was still willing to put his life on the line, so I get it. But here, even though it was obvious in episode 3, Husk admits that he wasn't really mad at Angel, he was just upset because he doesn't think he's worth saving. Unlike Charlie, he's not trying to get pity. This is genuine, and honestly, I don't think we focus on it enough. Angel gives him a loser baby kind of answer. Don't feel bad that you're a drunk at a bar. Look at me, I'm an SEX worker who had 3 cigarettes for lunch. We're both losers, and that's okay. Don't feel bad about yourself. It's almost like a woman wrote this. Angel gets a call and meets Val at a seedy motel. He thinks things are a little weird and goes into a room with eyes all over the walls watching him. Then Vox uses his freaky little eye stuff on Angel. Why didn't the V's use Angel like this before? Also, no one else must know about this or someone at the hotel would have been suspicious, right? Or take different and more precautions before hanging out with Vox? Or after Angel gets back? I don't know, Angel seems to understand what Vox is trying to do to him. Also, I don't know how to explain this in a YouTube-friendly way, but Angel gets tortured a lot, thrown around, beat up, and it's very unnecessary. Not to have as part of his character or a part of the story, I think that's fine in concept, but how much screen time it gets and the way it's shown, I don't know how else to say this, but it feels FETISHY. Like it's for someone who's read increasingly smutty fanfic to the point that they don't even realize how creepy this is. We're not exploring how this has changed Angel. It's not plot relevant in any way. It's for the spectacle. And that's kind of gross. Okay, that's all I want to talk about that. Vox says he's been using Angel this whole time, but is he revealing this or lying to Angel to make him feel like he's betrayed Charlie? Because if he has been doing this the whole time, Vox hasn't actually been a step ahead of Charlie like he's claiming? And why was he so weird about asking Val to use Angel? And why was Val so weird about it too? And why do it in this seedy motel?
These are legitimate questions.
This raises so many questions about how Vox's power works. Also, none of this had any bearing on the story. Not once is there an instance where you wonder how Vox knew something. In fact, there's a lot of instances where you wonder how he didn't know something. So what's the point of this? Again, a very interesting idea. Could have been heartbreaking for us to see Angel realize just how he'd been used in a different way this time, and it could explain why Vox always seemed to be a step ahead, but then he'd actually need to be a step ahead. But nothing was set up. And why do you even need the eye thing when you control all the tech anyway? They even brought a TV to the hotel with them in episode 3. Their whole thing is, trust us with your information. All that to say, this could have been really good, but it wasn't. Assuming this is all real, the only time Vox needing information is relevant is when, apparently, he has Angel eavesdrop while Lucy is telling Vaggy that he can't actually smite anyone. But what is the range and duration of Vox's power? Why would he have Angel specifically following Vaggy to eavesdrop on Lucifer right at that particular moment? It makes absolutely no sense. And sure, I guess it explains why he was so chill around Lucy now, but I unfortunately gave the writers some credit that that's the Vox they had intended to write. A confident showman in public, and that's the reason he was handling things so well on stage. He didn't want to look like a coward in front of his peons. And if Lucy did attack him, he could just, do his thing, spin it. This, the way it was executed, just made things so much worse. Husk returns to the hotel, surprised to see Angel not there. He and Cherry think something ain't right. Charlie and Vaggy hold hands and talk about dumb, mushy stuff.
Don't girls like stuff like this?
Maybe stupid girls.
They call Lucy, who is crying while watching a duck show, but when he answers the phone, Charlie's voice sounds weird. And for some reason, we didn't end the episode here because it's immediately shown to be Vox. See, this would have been a good reveal in your next episode. The timing in this show, oh my goodness. Vox calls Lucy his power source, which is suspicious coming from a man designing an angelic weapon with Carmine, and in the background, the other V's are preparing a hypnotized angel for whatever presentation Vox needs him for. Okay, let's check in with Ghost. My, what convenient timing.
It appears that someone's at the door.
Door? What door? We're in space.
The front door.
The front door, yeah, sure. The front door. Well, do something about that noise so I can keep going. Episode 7 opens with Lucy confidently walking into a dark, abandoned building, which isn't suspicious at all. Charlie would definitely ask to meet him here, and ask him to stand on the giant red X. Okay, at least he's a little suspicious, so he's not completely stupid, just mostly. But it doesn't matter either way, because he still went into the serial killery dark room and stood on the giant red X. Oh, wow, and Vox immediately captured him, and then mocked him with Charlie's voice, which, if he could do that this whole time and presumably mimic other people as well, why hasn't that been utilized before? Okay, so the angel eavesdropping thing and being used, that was all real. Alistair's here, Vox and Lucy make a big deal about Lucy not being able to harm sinners, as if that's a big reveal. But not only did we already deal with that during the rally, but it came up again in the last episode. What is the point of this? Lucy's trapped in this round, transparent, angelic steel container. Vox called him a power source at the end of the last episode. Wow, I wonder what's gonna happen. It's crazy how directly spelled out this is, but then the huge reveal with Angel and the hypnotism had zero build-up and also zero consequences. Vox flashback, he's got heterochromia. He's a weatherman who kills everyone in his way to work his way up the corporate ladder. See, this is what I mean by uncreative sinning in this show. First of all, people weren't suspicious, at least by the second time he did this. Wow, it's really crazy that anyone in Vox's way gets murdered and then Vox takes their job. Anyways, on with my day. There's all sorts of corporate crimes he could commit to get other people's jobs. That would make more sense with his personality anyway, but it's just murder? Again? And some of them didn't even make sense. It's not even like the murder's supposed to set him apart from the other characters or the good sinners. They're all murderers. Why not lean into the cult leader aspect? The one thing setting him apart. This show's moral stances are so weird, and the whole thing's about morality. Charlie occasionally pops in with her vague yet contradictory stances, but then the show glorifies the sin. Even with a villain like Vox, he's at least portrayed as being in the wrong, but like with Angel getting tortured, showing all these murders in such a colorful, energetic way is gratuitous and purposeless beyond the spectacle of it. There's nothing interesting about Vox's motivation or actions, it's just a vague, I want power. You can take tropes and flesh them out, but this is the opposite. This is a basic motivation stripped of any possible meaning and depth, reduced to the barest minimum. What's his motivation? Power. There's literally nothing more to say about him, which is the same problem all the characters have, really. A montage is not a substitute for character development.
You can't expect the writers to know everything.
Back to the hotel, Charlie's freaking out because her dad's not answering the phone, and he always answers the phone. Then the residents gather to watch the emergency broadcast where a hypnotized angel announces that the hotel is a joke and the only way forward is to follow the V's and fight angels. This should have been a huge reveal. So why were we given so much information about this happening? It's not even like the reactions are interesting either. And if Angel knew about Vox's weird eye stuff, and it appeared that he did, why would he not say something? That is incredibly important information. As poorly written as he is, I think it's fair to extrapolate from the information we do have that he's the kind of guy that wouldn't hang around if he thought in any way that he was a danger to the hotel. If I'm doing too much work for the writers, I could justify it with Angel doesn't actually think he is a danger, but also doesn't want his friends to think he might be a danger, so he doesn't tell them about Vox's freaky eye stuff, even though that's still incredibly important information. It's interesting that Vox says that when sinners die in hell, they die the eternal death. Well, Penchus was redeemed. How do you know there's not just another hell they went to? And what happened to Adam? More questions that won't ever be answered. Vox reveals his heaven nuke, calling it the Might of Lilith. Charlie and Vox both say they're continuing Lilith's plan, but obviously they have very different interpretations of what that means, which could be interesting, but it's not. And if a weapons dealer used vague signs to create an angelic nuke using an angel as a power source, why couldn't anyone have just figured out a way to contact heaven? Vox demonstrates the power of the new weapon as it bursts through the shield around heaven.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
One winner laments, "I thought this was the good place." No, you're right, you shouldn't have to be the victim of sinners anymore, but here we are. Thanks in large part to Charlie. It's almost like Adam wasn't wrong, and Sarah doesn't in fact owe Hell any kind of apology whatsoever? The blast bounces back and destroys Hell's clock tower. Vox broadcasts to, I assume, all the screens in heaven. He says they have 24 hours to surrender or everyone will die. Everyone in heaven panics, even Sarah, but that tracks. Everyone's been less competent this season. Charlie's hyperventilating, probably. Maybe her face just always looks like this, I don't remember. What an absolute waste of a character. Baggy says they aren't going to fight because last time Heaven brought the fight to Hell, this time they need to stay safe and out of the way. In Heaven, Lute says they need to wipe the sinners out, Emily says they have to talk to Charlie, and Abel's freaking out because he's a man and Vivsy can't bring herself to write one with any competence. All three of them are screaming over each other at Sarah at the same time in front of everyone again. Why are these conversations not had in private? Sarah panics again and leaves. Emily tells Lute that they can't wipe the sinners out because they have to be the good guys. Yes, and that means justice must be served. Compassion doesn't mean ignoring the innocent and allowing evil to continue. That is evil, Emily. Sounds like you might belong in hell. Honestly, why doesn't she just go down there? It sounds like their values align much more with hers. This is just so stupid. Emily is the nice one, but she would let evil continue, which is evil. Lute, meanwhile, is angry and a bit crazy, but it is not wrong to be angry about evil. I don't think Lute's doing this in the right way, but it is not wrong to eradicate evil, nor to be angry about atrocities being committed. The Bible even says, "Be angry and do not sin," in Ephesians 4:26. Penchus goes to talk to Sarah, who scoffs because how could someone like him help a seraphim? But he just thinks she needs a friend to talk to. Her duty is to enforce the judgment of heaven. But that implies that she's not making the judgments, just enforcing them. So what does that mean? Is she realizing that her interpretations of the judgments is wrong, or that the judgments themselves are wrong? God was mentioned in this season. Is he wrong? Is that what we're saying? She also says her duty is to nurture and protect those who deserve it, meaning that in this world there are some who deserve it and some who don't. But now she doubts who deserves it or not. And her other duty is to preserve the separation between the righteous and the wicked. Listen, she's got a lot to think through. That's fine. It's just more interesting ideas for the story to ignore. However, you can't risk the safety of those who 100% do deserve your protection as you struggle with the idea of who might eventually, possibly, maybe deserve it as they are at your door attacking you and singing about how excited they are to do so. That is not just, that is not good, that is not kind. She says, how can you even explain humans having enough innate goodness to be redeemed while they take part in actions as vile as this? Good question, because Penchus, your only evidence, was, as far as we've seen, the best hell had to offer, and he's only in hell because he didn't stop evil by pursuing justice and protecting the innocent. You see Penchus offering you cookies and being a shoulder to cry on and suddenly question whether the people singing songs about wanting to kill you and actually bombing you belong in heaven? Also, what does she mean by innate goodness?
Today I learned that morality is relative.
What does that mean? Does everyone have that? How much? How do you override that? How does this relate to personal responsibility? The people in heaven are called winners, which I know is only because it rhymed with sinners, but were they just blessed with more innate goodness? They're winners of some divine morality lottery? But the hotel is based on the idea of earning your redemption, meaning it is up to you to access your innate goodness.
I'm not gonna answer that question.
If you don't want to deal with these ideas, you don't have to, but then you also have to not bring them up constantly. If you want to make a show about morality and evil people changing, you need consistent morality and evil people actually changing. But this show isn't about that. It's just a series of convenient, nonsensical events designed to make Charlie look good and sympathetic. The reveals have no weight to them because, like everything else in the show, they're only there to elicit an emotional reaction from the viewer, nothing else. And just when you think it can't get worse, people sin because they're scared. Really, Penchus? If you want to make a show about fear, how people handle that, what it drives people to do, and ask questions about moral responsibility and fear, do that. But this is just an excuse. Was Jack the Ripper just murdering people because he was scared? Was Alistair killing and eating people because he was scared? I don't deny that some people are scared, but first of all, that isn't an excuse. But also, you haven't shown me people being scared. You've shown me people doing a lot of what this show calls sinning and also really enjoying it. Vox is a coward, sure, but he's not motivated by fear. Does Val do adult entertainment because he's scared? Does Husk gamble because he's scared?
I'm gonna roll big numbers, baby. I just lost $300,000, but it's okay because I won 700.
What about the people in heaven? Are they not allowed to be scared of being attacked? If sin is supposedly driven by fear so as to remove the responsibility from the sinner, what about the people in heaven? They clearly were able to overcome their fear, so what's the point of any of this? Penchas sings, "Some would kill to live again tomorrow," with triumphant music in the background. Think about that. Some would kill someone else to live again tomorrow. As if that's profound? Sarah's again asking some good questions, pointing out that Penchas was brave and overcame his fear. Sarah, your answer is right there. Even though heaven was attacking, well, to protect themselves, Penchas was redeemed because he overcame his fear. So it seems that, even if you're afraid, it's on you to overcome it and do whatever this show or Charlie or whatever thinks the right thing is. Point is, it's on you, no matter the circumstances, even by this show's convoluted logic. It starts with sorry, this crap again. Penchas does actually say it's followed by change, though he's the only one to have ever demonstrated that. He says mistakes are innate to being human and alive. It's true, everyone does make mistakes, but that's not what makes us human. That's just another excuse. Mistakes are innate to being human and alive, so Jack the Ripper was just being human and alive by killing all those girls? Again, what about Alistair, Val, Vox, Rosie? Those are just cutesy little mistakes. Sorry, I killed and ate someone, I was scared. It's just part of being human and alive. Penchas sings, "It starts with Charlie." Yes, because everything has to be about her even when she's not in the scene. She's done more in this song than in this whole show. Sarah feels like she can overcome her own fear now and redeem herself or whatever, but then she says she must make things right to prevent the fight. Didn't you already try that? And then after that, they bombed heaven? Sarah, you should be more scared and more certain you were right now. And why is it Sarah's responsibility to make sure no one else kills to live tomorrow? Charlie couldn't force redeem Angel. Penchas had to do it himself, of his own volition, with no expectation that he would be redeemed. Probably the only true selfless act in this whole show. Vox is just watching and rewatching heaven blowing up. Velvet is mad because the pearly gates blew up and she didn't have enough time to get it trending on social media so they'll get more support. This is a reality shifting event that just happened. I think your social media is gonna be fine, even without you pushing it. Vox wants her to plan a little soiree and to make sure the other overlords can be there to witness their triumph. Subtle. Alistair is still tied up in a chair. He annoys Vox and me, pointing out all the times Vox hasn't done something on his own. Vox says he'll get Charlie to come to the event tomorrow and get her to endorse him, while Alistair says this would never happen because Charlie would never admit to hell she was wrong, which is 100% correct. She would never admit to anyone she was wrong. Well, why should she have to? She never is wrong. Then Alistair says Vox is really easy to manipulate, which, yes, he is, because he's weak, stupid, and poorly written, not because Alistair is some sort of master manipulator. Okay, so Sarah makes the best decision in all 2 seasons of this show. She says to have the troops on standby and gives Emily the rest of the time left to try to resolve things peacefully. All things considered, probably the best decision you could make in these circumstances, except for maybe launching a surprise counterattack, completely nuking hell. But then she says she's done letting fear guide her decisions. Okay, this is another very stupid thing about this show. Fear is not always a bad thing. Being afraid that hell is going to attack you is not only completely justified, but it would be stupid to not be afraid. If you see a hornet's nest, it's not weird to be afraid of the hornets inside. This healthy, normal fear can make you rightfully cautious. If you weren't afraid, you might go up and mess with the hornets, which could really hurt you or others around you. I'm not too cool to put my hand on a hot stove. I'm afraid of getting burnt, which would lead to pain, hospital bills, wasted time, an inability to do what I need to until my hand heals. Hornets, well, I think they're malicious, but it's not like the stove is out to get me. And you certainly don't want your fear to lead to panic and irrational decisions, but painting Sarah as the bad guy for acting in fear in this situation would be the equivalent of seeing a known serial killer with a weapon singing a jolly song about dismembering you, and instead of having a shred of self-preservation and justice, walking towards him and asking if he wants to come over to your family's house for tea.
I'm a murdering psychopath. It's part of my charm.
Ha! He thought he could scare us.
He's not scared, but you should be. The way this show handles fear is insane. It's not just poorly thought out, it's dangerous. Sarah praises Emily for believing in Charlie, who is currently breathing into a bag and frantically trying to call her mom. See, this is an unhealthy fear response, while Vaggie continues to do everything, and right now she's overseeing hotel defenses. Cherry and Husk say they need to go get Angel, and Baxter says they don't have enough time to do that and shore up defenses. It would be more responsible to protect the people in the hotel. He's not wrong, but yeah, obviously you gotta go get Angel as one of Charlie's favored ones. Vox calls Charlie to invite her to his shindig, revealing that he has her dad. Vaggie says she can't go, and Charlie says she doesn't know what else to do. It's not like a solution's going to just fall out of the sky, as Emily falls from a portal shouting Charlie's name over and over again. Emily says it's all good, Sarah finally wants to come to a peaceful solution, but Vaggie breaks the news that it's too late. Vox has smeared the hotel's reputation and villainized the Angels completely, which is an okay plan and plot, I guess, but Hell already hated Charlie, the hotel, and the Angels, so it's not really a brilliant master plan when things are just already like that. Then they finally get the brilliant idea to broadcast from heaven to hell to show everyone that Penchus is alive, well, and redeemed now. And Baxter conveniently knows everything about how to do that. So the climax of the show is just going to be an easy, obvious solution that someone should have thought of at the beginning of the season, and we just added Baxter to the cast for this one moment at the end of the season, only to sit around and do nothing off screen the rest of the time?
Well, I don't know what I expected.
Pro writing tip, do not do this. The bad writing in this is astounding. Then Charlie asks if Baxter would be willing to risk his job. Remember, he works at Vox Tech. I forgot that because why wouldn't they accuse him of spying for Vox Tech and he could easily leave devices or whatever around? Why didn't the V's use him as well as Angel? The Angel thing is even more pointless now. Okay, Charlie also asks, very quietly and quickly, if he'd be willing to risk his life, like she's trying to appear honest, but really hopes he misses that part. It could be funny, but it really just emphasizes Charlie's lack of integrity. And Baxter says he decided to help because they were all so nice to him, making sure his blankets were folded in the weirdly specific way he wanted. So he assumed they were best friends.
Ugh, you're the worst kind of autistic.
Then Penchus and Baxter are going to do vague science for this emergency broadcast. At least Penchus does get to create. That was always weird to me. You think the creatives are all in hell? Everyone's excited about the plan, and then there's a joke about how Charlie doesn't know who one of the residents is because she hasn't been there, paying attention, or doing her one job. Song time? It's really just a summary recap of what's happened so far.
That's for the benefit of any of you who've tuned in late. Now, back to our story.
Which honestly is fine. I think it works well here. There's a reprise? I don't know the technical term. Theme? I don't know anything about music, but there are bits from the previous songs all blended together. It's nice, actually. Val expresses concern and regret over his changed relationship with Vox, which is super weird and irrelevant. We've seen everything he's done, but now you want to try to make him sympathetic? It's not even for the purpose of redemption. Now that would be interesting, so of course the show's not going to go there. It had nothing to do with change or improvement or emphasizing how evil Val is. It's just, I'm sad. What?
Do you want some cookies?
Cookies? You're supposed to be manning the defenses.
They had cookies.
I'm sorry. They?
The aliens at the door.
Ghost! Sweetie, you are not supposed to let anyone in. Ever.
Well, I'm not the one that let all these subscribers in.
Hey, I didn't let them in either. They just keep showing up. Ah! My, what indescribable forms you have.
Thank you.
I can't imagine trying to draw you.
We hear that a lot. After discussing things with your transparent friend here, we discovered it was all a big miscommunication.
A miscommunication?
We didn't hear the whole message.
So you don't want us to die?
Goodness. I said these cookies aren't to die for.
And you don't want to murder us?
We haven't seen another ship in so long.
And the loneliness is murder.
And you don't want to kill us?
All I said was, would it kill you to let us in?
Oh, well, I'm glad it was all a misunderstanding. I'm afraid I have to continue this transmission, though. I must warn the people of Earth about Hazbin Hotel.
I don't know what this Hazbin Hotel is, but it sounds terrible.
Please, continue.
Episode 8. Vaggie goes over the plan, illustrated with crayon drawings. Again. She and Charlie are going to the event. Baxter, Nifty, Husk, and Cherry will sneak into Vox Tech. Cherry and Husk will split off to go find Angel. Charlie interjects to say that they'll break the V's mind control with the power of friendship. And then Vaggie says Nifty will serve as security, while Baxter figures out how to hijack Vox's signal to broadcast Pentius's message and proof of life to all of hell. After all this works perfectly, Emily is going to portal from heaven to show, alongside Charlie, how fighting isn't the answer, and all the overlords are going to hold hands and stop fighting. And while all this is going on, Vaggie's going to figure out how to destroy the weapon. Now, I've seen enough Naruto to know that when you tell the audience your plan in advance, in detail like that, it's because you need to know what should have happened before it all goes wrong. But also, it's Hazbin Hotel, so I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if everything went according to plan. Charlie and Vaggie show up to the party. I feel like this was partly an excuse to draw them in fancy outfits, like when YA books have a masquerade ball for no reason at all. Vox says he's gonna take Heaven tomorrow by force. Val and Velvet leave. Vox won't let Charlie talk to Alistair. Vaggie asks Carmine about how to disable the Doomsday device.
What are you doing to protect my constitutional right to bear Doomsday devices?
And she declines. The V's are distracted, everyone sneaks in, so far the plan is going perfectly. They disable the cameras, but Vox's shark, who is a very good boy, alerts Vox to the presence of the intruders. I guess this wasn't accounted for due to some combination of bad writing and stupid characters. Husk and Cherry find Angel. Baxter and Nifty make it to the computer room. Baxter hacks the system.
Meow meow, you're in! Meow meow.
Charlie starts her presentation. Now, it is interesting that while she talks about Pentius, she said, yes, he made mistakes, but he was a kind and compassionate individual. He tried everything he could to fix his mistakes and succeeded. Two things of note here. First, minimizing sin and your responsibility for it, saying he just made a few mistakes. Again, look at the rest of hell. Pentius was an outlier. And second, emphasizing that Pentius chose to change and it was his actions that earned him entrance into heaven. So he does have responsibility. Vaggie tries to figure out how to disable the weapon and finds Lucy. Vox tries to take center stage again, but Baxter mutes him, which is funny, but if you wanted to have Vox talk his way to the top and talk himself up, but he's not actually that powerful, that's actually really cool, but that's not the character we got. He was able to fight Alistair, even if he's not quite as strong as him, so how powerful is Vox supposed to be? In the climax of the show, you're just gonna make him look like he's not a threat at all? What is the point beyond making him look silly while conveniently allowing Charlie to execute her part of the plan? If later Vox reveals some crazy power we didn't know about or is suddenly really strong again, it's really undercut by this scene. You can't have him be a really strong and powerful threat and also a timid little Betty who can't even hurt a fly. You can't be strong and weak in the exact same way. I say strengths are weaknesses a lot, but that's not what this means. An easy example is Snow White, whose strength was her kindness, but also what got her in trouble with the evil queen disguised as the old hag. She was so kind that she couldn't turn her away even though the animals were trying to warn her, and the evil queen certainly did look suspicious. I mean, come on, her name is Evil Queen. I think it's actually Grimhild or something, but you know. Here, her kindness was used against her. It became her weakness. In Vox's case, his confidence could be a strength, but overconfidence can be a weakness. He's such a mess, there isn't really one way to fix him. You'd have to decide what you want him to be and fix him from there, but you can't have him be physically strong and also physically weak when it's convenient for the story. That's just bad writing. Oh, here's another example. Earlier, I said that I could relate to Vox saying that it's not what it is, it's what it could be. I think he was talking about heaven. I wish we'd leaned more into that, Vox, but anyways, like I said, I can understand that line of thinking and can personally attest to it being both a strength and a weakness. This thought process lends itself very well to creative problem solving. It does not, however, lend itself well to more practical matters. And often in everyday situations, I find myself very unintentionally making things more difficult for myself because my initial reaction to things is usually, there must be a better, more creative way to do this. It can't be that simple, when it usually is that simple. And in that way, my strength, unfortunately, becomes my weakness. Charlie's almost crying when she dramatically says, this time she can prove Penchus is in heaven. Yeah, it was real mean of you guys not to believe her with no evidence. But before they can do the broadcast, Velvet attacks Nifty and Baxter, and Val attacks Cherry and Husk. So when Charlie announces Penchus, the broadcast doesn't work, and then everyone calls her a liar and she panics.
Why you always lying?
Emily comes through to try to help out, but then she says that the leadership in heaven was led to believe that sinners wanted nothing more than to hurt the people in heaven. Yes? That is still correct? It's insane that this show is showing me violent criminals, jovial, violent criminals, but the real bad guys are the ones who are scared that the dangerous mob singing about how excited they are to kill them are going to follow through and kill them. Why was the story written like this? You didn't have to do this. Did no one notice while writing this? Emily says heaven wants nothing more than to make things right and believes that they all have the capacity to do good. And Charlie says they just need to decide if they believe in themselves. One big problem with this is that we don't even have a semi-consistent system of morality, so how are people even supposed to change? What is good in this show? Well, the only reason the entire crowd doesn't immediately laugh at her, besides the writers wanting us to take this seriously, is Vox suddenly has crazy powers again and hypnotizes the entire crowd. If they needed more supporters, why didn't he just hypnotize all of hell like this? There's no consistency and no stakes. Nifty's still fighting Velvet, Husk and Cherry are still fighting Val. Vox says that Charlie is failing yet again and that she's a pale imitation of her mother who would be disappointed in her. This had the potential to be a great and relevant moment. Charlie's success isn't just important to her because she has such an insufferably huge ego, she also desperately wants her mother's approval, which also would have made her an interesting parallel to Abel, who desperately wants his father's approval. But that's interesting and potentially thought-provoking. Can't have any of that on this show. Instead, we jump right into Vox declaring himself the most powerful sinner, and when Charlie says it, that breaks Alistair's deal with Rosie. Seriously, what's going on?
We don't need to figure it out, we just need to respect it.
How does this work? Why? Why did it have to be Charlie? Rosie was the one who declared Alistair the most powerful? This is framed like Alistair's so clever for using his one favor that he got from a deal he made with Charlie in season 1 to do this, but what the heck? Or you know what? We're in hell. What the hell? And Vox was just easily muted by Baxter, so is Baxter actually the most powerful? Did Charlie's declaration give him powers, make other people weaker? What does this mean? Then Vox puts his hands on Charlie's shoulders as he's thanking her for sucking so much at everything she does. I mean, he's not wrong. But then that breaks Alistair's deal with Vox because he wasn't supposed to lay a hand on her. Aside from just how stupid that is, that's what you were counting on? That's what you were waiting for, Alistair? I thought Husk was supposed to be the gambler here. I mean, he does say Vox is always doing that, touching people, I guess to justify betting on all of this happening and conveniently lining up like this. And then he calls Vox a moron and an amateur for falling for the old "don't lay your hands on her" trick. And it doesn't make sense that the king of spin would fall for something so simple as a technicality of wordplay. Come on! Then Alistair fights Vox. Seems like a lot of sinners are getting hurt in the process, definitely destroying a lot of infrastructure down here. maybe you guys are why hell sucks so much. Or wait, is this just Alistair and Vox being afraid? And if they hold hands and sing, they too can be redeemed and change their color schemes to pastel? The others are still fighting too. Angel fights Cherry a little bit because he's hypnotized, but then they beat Val, but only because they're the good guys, not because this fight makes any sense. Vox calls his precious, precious shark boy to help with his fight. I can't wait to get my shark. Then Vox turns the weapon towards Alistair when he sees that he's outclassed. So wait, what did it mean then when Charlie called Vox the most powerful? You'd think something to do with hierarchy or authority or something.
Nothing means anything!
Whatever. Anyways, Charlie and Emily freak out because the sinners caught in the crossfire need help. You know, in season 1, Charlie sings a song while traipsing through hell among people torturing each other and also has meetings with cannibals. Charlie sees this kind of thing every day and now suddenly it matters? I guess this is an angelic weapon, but Carmine is an angelic arms dealer. And they've worked with her.
Oh no! I just want consistency!
While Charlie and Emily rescue sinners, Carmine seems to have changed her mind. Nifty beats Velvet, and Baxter gets the broadcast back up only for it to be disintegrated by the Angel Ray. Baxter says Penchus is their only hope now, and somehow Sarah and Penchus overhear this conversation, so he knows what to do now. What is angelic steel? Where did it come from? Why does hell not have an equivalent? Is it because the best creatives are in heaven and are using their brains to protect heaven, and that's how this material was developed? Is it a natural resource in heaven, gifted to heaven because only they should have access to that kind of material? That's actually not something necessary for the story to address. It's just a question I have. And that kind of thing does stand out more when you have so many unanswered questions. Stories can't answer every single question, but if you answer enough, especially when it's something important, people are going to trust your story more. Any whistle? Vaggie's just been banging away at the weapon, not trying anything else. Wow, wonder who she learned that from. Val and Velvet notice that Vox has lost it. Carmine decides to help Vaggie with the weapon, but Vox just uses his vague powers to override whatever they disabled. Emily's caught in the crossfire. Penchus begs Sarah not to send in the army, and Sarah immediately agrees and just has Lute and Abel rescue Emily. And Vox is going to take out Charlie, Emily, and Alistair all in one shot, but again, conveniently, Carmine somehow knows that this will overload the weapon and take out half of hell, including Vox, but he doesn't care anymore. I think that's an interesting beat, but very poorly set up. Val and Velvet attack Vox because they're not dying for that effing deer. That's Alistair, by the way. So what, is Vox just afraid? Is he seconds away from potentially being redeemed and he's innately good, he's just afraid, and that makes everything he's doing okay? The V's rip Vox's TV head off and try to run away with the TV head, but Vox seems fine otherwise, which is weird because he was also shown with an older model of TV head in his flashback, so what does that mean? Even with Vox out of the way, the weapon is still overloaded and everyone's in danger now. A vaguely wounded Emily staggers over to the weapon, grunts, and strains with her hands outstretched towards the weapon, trying and failing to do something. If your magic system was clearer, I would kind of know what's happening. And I'm sure this minor wing injury is painful, but I'm pretty sure Vaggie's wings just straight up grew back after getting cut off, so why are we trying to make such a big deal about this? The stakes don't have meaning, they're just trying to elicit emotion. Then Emily starts singing and makes whatever she was trying to do work. Now, bluish blobs are coming out of her hands. No, I'm not making this up. She sings about wanting sinners to have hope and believe. But what does that mean in this world? Hope in what? Believe in what? I'm sure the answer is yourself, but I mean, come on, look at you guys. You guys suck. That's not inspiring. Charlie joins in the song and also stretches her hands out towards the weapon, and vague magic-y stuff also happens. They sing that they'll die trying to protect the peace they lost, but to lose something, you have to have had that thing in the past. What peace did you lose? What are you on about? They continue singing about how action bias is actually a good thing, Husk joins in and points the magic coming out of his hands at the weapon. Seriously, what is happening? What am I supposed to think is happening? One of the phrases in the song is, "All hell joined hands and sang along." Seriously, what is happening? This is the climax of the story. This is how we're solving all the problems. Joining hands and singing? I don't even know how to process what I'm watching right now. Lute drops down from heaven, laughing maniacally. Oh, I forgot we have to resolve her meaningless storyline. Oh, right, and Abel's too. He freaks out while Vaggie and Lute fight. Then in a 30-second character arc, he sings about growing a pair, and then his sudden masculine authority causes Lute to listen to him and stand down. Wow, those would have been actually interesting storylines if they were more than 30 seconds long. Also, Abel sang about his braver brother, which is that Cain? If you don't know, Cain and Abel were both the children of Adam and Eve, and Cain killed Abel, which was the first murder. The first human death, actually, I think. So is he in hell? That would be very interesting. Can he be redeemed? Did Adam actually like Cain better? Because that's a little weird. Zesty and Carmine are here and appear to be addressing Charlie as they sing about how they can't believe that she would risk her life to save souls that heaven tried to kill. When she also did this in the last season with weapons from you, Carmine, so what? Why is this a surprise? So now, the Overlords are joining in with their vague hand magic and singing to Hear Their Hope. They're laying down their arms and putting war away. How is anyone taking this seriously? I guess, what did I expect from this show? But still, I am astounded. Rosie the Cannibal shows up. She's angry with Alistair for breaking the deal, even though he's a demon and an overlord, just like she is. Why is everyone so surprised about minor infractions like this? But everything else is just glossed over most of the time. You guys are in hell! Rosie tries to shame Alistair into helping. He says he's not going to unless the price is right, but then none of that is resolved and suddenly they both join in, smiling and singing. I can't believe this is real. How is this real? This is the best day of my life. This is hilarious and so silly. Vox and Velvet are joining in now? And then the weapon explodes into a rainbow aurora. Charlie was right about everything, right down to the Overlords joining hands and singing. Wow. Wait a second, wasn't Lucy in there? What happened to him? Did they just kill her dad with the power of friendship? Okay, but what was this supposed to prove though? I know it's all sunshine and rainbows and happy music now, but nothing has been solved. People were just uniting over a shared threat, and it was in their best personal interest to join in. Nothing about this was selfless. The Overlords all leave and say they're never talking about this again. That's what I'm saying, we've solved nothing. The only risk was in not participating. Oh my gosh, was this supposed to be they solved the problem by working together, and that's why Vox is the bad guy, because he didn't want to work with the other Vs? And he opposed Charlie. Charlie says the power of friendship was strong within them, but is this supposed to be literal? Their vague hand magic was powered by hope and friendship? What? And clearly, it wasn't genuine. Again, no one was there because of friendship. They were scared, and this was quite literally their only option. What is this supposed to be? Lucy stumbles out of the stage or the wreckage or something. Somehow he's okay. The show really should have made Charlie more concerned about him, you know, because she's supposed to be so kind and compassionate. I cared more about her dad than she did. Then Penchus gets the broadcast working with Sarah's vague angel powers, and he says, and I quote, "I'm a good boy now." And everyone in hell celebrates, saying that Charlie was right, because of course she is. I guess Penchus can hear them. Charlie says they don't need him anymore. They never did. And he's a little cutie. Then Cherry and Penchus talk. It's, terrible. But I guess yay, they get to see each other again. Baxter and Nifty hug. Are they shipped now? Is it because they're the same size and they both like bugs? Honestly, that's more than any of the other couples in this show. Sarah comes to get Emily, all while Cherry and Penchus are still talking. He says heaven frowns upon violence and death machines.
It's against the rules. Really? It's not just frowned upon?
You can still make machines, Penn. They just can't be death machines. The V's leave. Vox says he got a little carried away and wants to know what his approval rating is. Angel leaves because he's not safe and he feels bad about spying on the hotel for Vox. See, that's the reaction I expected. Husk and Cherry try to convince him to stay. Angel says he can't because of the deal he made with Val, and also because he feels like he literally has no agency after choking Cherry. Seriously, everything around Charlie is so much more interesting than she is. This is super interesting. If the show would deal with how Charlie actually is, we could have had Angel agreeing to the redemption speedrun because he felt worthless. It's weird that he gets beat up and thrown around because of Charlie's antics, but he feels like he owes her and he deserves it. The punishment, not redemption. I like that we let Angel leave to go to the V's, but not to be redeemed. What if your deal is also a part of redemption? What if Angel was redeemed when he was willing to sacrifice his life for Husk, but his deal with Val got in the way? That'd be kind of weird. Heaven should be stronger than hell, but I don't know. The show's dumb. Seems like something Hazbin would do. Charlie tries to call her mom again to summarize where we're leaving things at the end of the season. The hotel's doing well now that there's no threat of extermination or war. Tons of people are checking in for the right reason, whatever those are. She's actually doing stuff in the hotel this time. Vaggie says, I guess the phone call is over, the hotel only works because of Charlie. Yeah, sure, okay. And Charlie says it's her dream. And Vaggie has decided to keep her name Vaggie. Alistair's back at the hotel for personal reasons. Charlie's narrating again, so I guess we're back on the phone call. The V's were able to spin everything, so are they master spinners or not? Because like everything else in this show, it's a power of convenience. They're pretending they don't know Vox now. Charlie says she's still learning to let things go, would be nice, and they all miss Angel. Emily's helping with the hotel, things calm down in heaven, they're excited about new arrivals, and Cherry sends a letter for Penchus. Lute's still angry, Charlie misses her mom, and says that Vox tried to convince her that Lilith's dream was different than she remembered. Okay, that's interesting. I said I wanted to know what Lilith's dream actually was because why should I trust Charlie's memory? And the show ends with Charlie answering the phone, after she hung up, of course, and she says, Mom? That was set up fairly well. That's a fine cliffhanger to end things on. I just still can't believe the climax of this show. I can't stop thinking about it. It doesn't feel real. But the show is done, and I'm extremely grateful for that. Now, to finally eat some of these cookies.
They are good.
I thought you didn't have taste buds.
Even creatures without taste buds can enjoy these cookies.
Hey, what about bloodbath?
What do you mean?
Well, there was a perfectly innocent reason for us hearing the words kill, murder, die. But what was bloodbath? I can't even imagine a context for that.
Well, after we eat these cookies, your deaths will be an absolute bloodbath.
No. What was it really?
I think I'm being perfectly clear.
I thought you said you didn't want to kill us.
Oh no, we never said that. You just assumed. While we do love baking cookies, our true passion is in consuming the flesh of our enemies.
What?
You see, the loneliness is murder. It's been so long since any humans have dared venture into the galaxy of terror.
Even though we have closest pet port that sells demon sharks.
Right, my demon shark.
It turns out these cookies are to die for, and it will kill you to let us in.
Security system activated. Threat detected.
Oh, gross. Are the cookies okay?
Indeed, Captain. Top priority.
Well, thank goodness that all happened on the other side of the viewing deck.
Very convenient.
And much less work to clean. It's a shame you can't trust strangers bearing cookies.
I should never have let them in.
We know better now. Well, I guess I better finish this thing up. Oh, so we can go get my shark.
Right, the shark.
Well, for shark-related reasons, I don't want to prolong this, but wowee, what a show. Truly, nothing meant anything. This show is a masterclass of how not to write a story. There were times the story even ventured into interesting question territory, but then, as we saw, completely ignored the implications, instead leaving me asking questions like,
I'm sitting here watching the show and I could be out cleaning garbage cans.
And wondering if this was on purpose or if the writers are just completely oblivious of their own story's potential. My expectations were low, but clearly not low enough because I didn't even realize until the end that the moral of the story was it's good to work together. Not a shred of morality to be seen in a story seemingly about that, but we do get a kindergarten lesson. But wait, no, it's not even a kindergarten lesson because even though it was set up in a very simplistic way and somewhat consistent, the execution was so terrible, I think the writers might not know what teamwork is beyond it being a nice sounding word. I don't know, I assumed there was a team of writers. Is it just Vivsy? Obviously, teamwork is what the story was going for. The V's, the bad guys, supposedly can't work together. Charlie, the good guy, pays lip service to the concept of working together. Vox's tragic backstory is him being denied the chance to work with others, even though at this point he was in hell. And aside from the murders and cult stuff, it's not like he worked with people in life, so what's that all about? And then, at the end, the angel nuke is neutralized by working together. Except no one actually was working together. It's friendship is magic, but in the dumbest, most surface-level way. We're not even asking any interesting questions about teamwork. Like, should I compromise my values for the sake of working with others? What does it mean to be a team? What differences should I put aside to work with others? How should I go about this? It's just a half-finished, unexplored statement. Teamwork, good. This wouldn't even work in a kids' show. You can do friendship is magic, even in a show for adults, but not like this. The show itself isn't even about teamwork. It's just a shoddily slapped-on theme that comes up occasionally to make sure the viewer hasn't forgotten. Or you don't notice at all if you're stupid like me. Actually, that is why I didn't notice, both because I'm stupid and because the show doesn't ask anything interesting about teamwork. It's not woven into each element throughout the story. Really, you could take the teamwork moments out and replace them with literally any other kind of feel-good moment, and the rest of the story could remain unchanged. It doesn't make a difference. Teamwork good, or even teamwork in general, is not an integral part of the story. It's not the focus. It's there, it's something you can find if you're looking for it, but it's not treated like a narratively important element, which is not how to include themes. Furthermore, even the statement, teamwork good, doesn't play out that well in the actual story. Let's review how teamwork was handled in the show. The best example is probably the Angels. They're mostly somewhat united in their goal, however divided over how to pursue it. The disagreements make sense even if they're not handled well. See, that's where you could have explored teamwork better. Well, in the whole show you could have explored teamwork better, but there was the most potential here. If you have a group including anyone other than yourself, there's going to be some disagreement somewhere, even if you have the same goal. But in this show, if a background character asks a pertinent question, it's the job of the more prominent characters to ignore them, and the Angels are no exception. The same is true of the V's. With the exception of when Alistair tries to rile Vox up, it seems their default is teamwork. And it wasn't the lack of teamwork that ultimately led to Vox's downfall, it was his lust for power. Even at the end, the other V's didn't abandon Vox. They still grabbed his TV head and covered for him in the media. I don't know, that seems like pretty good teamwork to me. Vox didn't achieve his goals, but he didn't lose his team. And the Overlords all holding hands and singing like they're in Whoville now, that's not teamwork. I know it was supposed to be, and that the power of friendship was supposed to be what saved them, but what teamwork? What friendship? No one learned anything about working together. You either die for sure, or join in the singing and magic hands to slightly reduce your chance of dying. No differences were overcome, no conflicts were resolved, no sacrifices were made, no one changed. It even ended with the Overlord saying that they're never talking about that again. This is the kind of thing that could save hell, but then that might make Charlie's Hotel unnecessary. And what would she do without her current hyperfixation, the grandiose symbol of her ego? Friendship is magic, and yet Charlie is the worst friend. While the story treats her like she's so kind and so caring, but Charlie never listens to anyone else. She doesn't even think about others. She expects people to conform to her interests and her expectations. That's not working well with others, that's being hard to work with. She doesn't help people to find and use their strengths and gifts to achieve their shared goals. She uses, and let's be real, hurts people to get what she wants. That doesn't sound like teamwork to me. Sometimes the other main cast members did work together, usually when their lives were on the line, but Charlie is often not very helpful during these times. And teamwork isn't even inherently a good thing. You can work together towards a negative common goal, and we actually see this in Hazbin Hotel, contradicting its one theme. Just like I expected. Right yet again! Who are two groups that did work together well? Oh, that's right. The cannibals and the exterminators. Now, the exterminators certainly weren't successful in their endeavors at the end of season 1, but you can't deny that they worked together very well. So what, working together is now both a bad thing and won't accomplish your goals? So I guess teamwork bad, actually? Same with the V's. They didn't achieve their goals, but they mostly worked together. Did no one proofread this script? It's not even saying the one thing it supposedly wants to say. This is so easy. Just show the good guys working together and being rewarded for that, and the bad guys not working together and being punished for that. I mean, I'd only recommend that if you're going for the simplest of stories, but Hazbin Hotel can't even do that. Also, real quick, what about Vox and Alistair? Because of his backstory, is Vox a sympathetic character now? Why isn't Charlie reaching out to him, trying to help him? He wanted to work together, and Alistair rejected and mocked him. With the one moral stance this show dares to actually kind of take, that working together is a good thing. Shouldn't Alistair be the worst of the worst? It's fine that he kills and eats people, but he doesn't like teamwork?
1,000,000 years, dungeon!
I mean, seriously, how can Charlie work with someone like that? I don't think Charlie necessarily knows that about Alistair and Vox, mostly because she just doesn't know anything. I'm just pointing out inconsistencies and potential here. She could know that, and the story could do something with that. Realistically, though, Alistair's probably going to be the sleeper villain 2 or 3 seasons from now, as if he's not already obviously evil, but fans are going to call this foreshadowing. I would never wish failure on anyone, but the more I learn about Vivziepop, the more I'm honestly kind of discouraged by her success. And it is my personal opinion that she's a completely talentless hack who somehow and unfortunately made it big.
I'd say don't quit your day job, but you're awful at that too.
And that's not just jealousy talking. I'd say that to her face. You're the worst.
With a show that tries to make heaven look as lame as possible while also saying it's the better place to be, because obviously. Meanwhile, it can't decide whether to make hell a terrible place or cool as hell. The show does admit you need to change to go to heaven, but can't say exactly how, both because it hasn't been thought through, and also if you condemn literally anything, you risk offending, well, your entire fan base. It so desperately wants the moral high ground while simultaneously being inconsistent and very permissive. Now, if you've made it this far and you're just thinking what a hater I am, yep, you got me. I love to hate. Why can't I just shut up and let other people like what they like? Why does any of this matter? Why can't I just let people have fun? It's not hurting anyone. Well, because that's not entirely true. It is affecting the media industry, which in turn affects both consumers and creators. I don't know if you know this, but people like to make money. And when consumers spend money and time on stories like this, it means we get more of them. And then when people want to write their own stories but have only consumed media like this, we get more and more derivative and poorly written stories. The standards continue to lower.
It's heaven's punishment for our terrible taste in everything!
And the bar is already in hell. Okay, that's probably the last time I'll make that joke. Probably. And honestly, it is hurting people, let's be real. Stories are meant to open your mind to new ideas, so think about what's happening to your brain if these are the ideas it's constantly exposed to. I don't know why people tend to view all media as the same, as if it's not a big deal if you consume bad media, chalking it up to differences in taste. It's not even like occasionally eating fast food. Sure, it's not good for you, but it won't kill you. Probably. Let me put it this way. If you saw someone rooting around in a dumpster eating slimy, moldy, smelly food, would you think, well, that's not my personal taste, but they're not hurting anyone? No, because that would be both stupid and cruel. It's just that the effects of eating rotten food are a lot more tangible and immediate than that of consuming rotten media. And Hazbin Hotel is rotten. Don't think you can fill your brain with literal garbage and escape unscathed. Actions always have consequences. And if after all that you still believe people should just be able to do what they like, well, I love this. I love analyzing media. I love calling for excellence. I don't like stories. I love them. So to be consistent with your own principles, you have to be perfectly okay with me doing what I like. Also, you don't need my permission to have terrible taste in media. You can just do it. I'm gonna be judgmental about it, but I don't need your permission to be judgmental. I'm just gonna do it. Speaking of judgment,
your eternal reward.
I talked a lot more about Hazbin Hotel's terrible theology in my first video, but I do just want to touch on it a little bit here because it is very important. Salvation is not earned. Ephesians 2:8-9 says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not of your own doing. It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast." Salvation is both repentance, meaning lamenting and then turning from your sin, and having faith that the punishment for your sin was paid for by the death of Jesus Christ on the cross. As it says in Romans 6:23, "For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus our Lord." Works do not earn you salvation. They are evidence of a changed heart and a new desire to honor God with your actions. Hazbin Hotel could never define what it meant by sinner or winner because it can't. So to keep it succinct, sin is anything that displeases God or breaks his laws, which coincidentally displeases him. This show talked a lot about who deserves hell and heaven, as if it's unfair that the various people leaders, people killers, traffickers, PDF files, grapeists, and so on don't deserve to be there. And to be clear, in life, those people still can turn from their sin and be forgiven. They still have to pay the consequences for that in life, but God can still save them. You've got the worst of the worst in hell, but then you have people like Pentious who, for the sake of argument, will just say, made a little mistake. And that's something that comes up in conversation a lot, that God is somehow unfair for letting anyone, especially people who just make tiny little mistakes, go to hell. And that mindset comes from a very inflated view of self and a very low view of God. God's standard is perfection, which is obviously unattainable for humans, but that's kind of the point. We are totally and completely unable to save ourselves. We must rely fully on God. Some people like to cutesify sin by saying, oh, it's just a tiny little bitty mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. That's what makes us human. I mean, that's kind of true, but not in the way you think. In reality, we sin because that is our very nature. Sin, even something you think is small, is not just a little oopsie. It's corruption, and something blemished, imperfect, marred by sin cannot exist in the presence of a perfect and holy God. I mean, just think about that for a moment. Think about how great God is. It should make you tremble with fear and respect. That's why I say thinking it's unfair anyone has to go to hell is indicative of a low view of God and a high view of humanity. I mean, come on. Look at us. We suck. No one, literally no one, deserves heaven. Romans 3:23 says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." But there is hope. Real hope, not Charlie's empty contradictory platitudes where she tries so hard to sound moral without saying anything at all. It's true, all have sinned and fallen short of God's glory, but Romans 3 continues with, "and are justified by his grace as a gift through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus, whom God put forward as a propitiation by his blood to be received by faith." I'm going to keep reading because this passage is just so good. This was to show God's righteousness because in his divine forbearance, he had passed over former sins. It was to show his righteousness at the present time so that he might be just and the justifier of the one who has faith in Jesus. Then what becomes of our boasting? Is it excluded? By what kind of law? By a law of works? No, by the law of faith. For we hold that one is justified by faith apart from works of the law. God doesn't want people to go to hell, but he is a God of justice, and he can't let sin go unpunished. But he is also a God of love. He has offered a way for those sins to be forgiven. It's incredible. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life." And lastly, even though hell clearly sucks, except when it doesn't or whatever, it's still nothing compared to the, well, actual hell that hell is. It is eternal, constant, conscious torment. Just like God's glory and holiness is like nothing you can imagine, so is hell also like nothing you can imagine. No one's playing around having the time of their afterlife still sinning. I know I bring this up all the time, but Got Questions is a great resource if you have more questions. There's other ones, but this is just the easiest to understand if you're not well-versed in theology.
No.
Hey, I think that was the only pun I made this whole video.
Still no.
Okay, well that was way more than I meant to get into, but this is so important. Storytelling and the gospel are pretty much the only things I actually take seriously. And since I believe this to be true, it would be cruel, and even worse, inconsistent of me not to tell you. Anyways, as always, how dare you watch this whole video, don't like, don't comment, don't share, don't hype or whatever, and definitely don't subscribe. Wait, no, never mind. Please do subscribe. I need something to feed my new pet sharks.
Yay.
I thought you were against me getting my demon shark.
Yes, but now it serves a purpose. Keeping people from watching my videos.
Oh yeah!
What will you name it?
I was thinking Reaper.
Very appropriate.
Thank you. And if anyone in the comments asked me what the name of the ship was and I said the Reaper, no I didn't. Gaslighting isn't real. You're crazy. Bye.
Don't subscribe.
Is it a racism that Val is a trafficker, even though I know he's from Miami? Or is it racist that I think it's racist?
If you can be Mexican bandits, I can be a Mexican parking lot attendant.
I'm from Florida.